Su Jie, do you want your eggs well-cooked or soft-boiled? In the open kitchen of Jingjiang No. 1 Villa, Lu Yingying, dressed in home clothes and wearing an apron, was busy preparing breakfast. Well-cooked. Just a moment. It will be ready soon. For such things, just let the chef do it. Their cooking skills are so good. Su Jie sat on the sofa, watching the TV report about the mansion fire that had shocked the city over the past few days. It's not the same. The breakfast made by others is full of love. Humph, I remember you said you could cook, Su Jie, yet you have never cooked for me. Who said that? Didn't I just feed you milk this morning? That was because you forced me. Always bullying people. Beneath Lu Yingying's creamy skin, a blush tint emerged, and her charming, affectionate eyes fiercely glared at Su Jie a few times. She had been living with Su Jie for 2 days, had taken leave from work, and although Su Jie hadn't made any promises to her, she was willing to wait. Now I'm giving you a chance to strike back. Maybe your cooking skills can conquer my stomach, then capture my heart. Well, that might be. My cooking skills are just basic. I can only make a simple breakfast, just don't despise my cooking. Those complex lunches and dinners should still be handled by your hired chef. While saying this, Lu Yingying's face was full of elation. A few minutes later, Lu Yingying brought the breakfast to Su Jie, glanced at the TV and said, "It's this news again. That cold lily boss is always topping our local TV news. After all, a rich boss died from being burned alive. The news is bound to chase hot topics." Su Jie smiled, eating the thoughtfully prepared breakfast by Lu Yingying. Hearing this, Lu Yingying commented, "Nowadays, the news has no limits. It was just an accidental fire. But journalists chase around for interviews, making up conspiracy theories about murder and assassinations, just to generate traffic." Su Jie couldn't stop laughing at her words, wondering what the reaction would be if the real mastermind behind this incident were sitting right in front of Lu Yingying. "Mr. Su, there are 2 police officers outside. They said they want to see you." As they were jokingly talking, a servant suddenly came over and respectfully said to Su Jie, "Let them in." Su Jie's eyes flashed sharply as he waved his hand. "What do the police want?" Lu Yingying looked puzzled, not knowing what was going on. "Who knows?" Su Jie shrugged his shoulders and continued eating his breakfast as if nothing had happened. Shortly after, 2 police officers appeared in front of Su Jie. One had a square face, over 40 years old, and looked like an upright senior officer. The other was a young female officer, probably in her early 20s, likely a recent graduate from the police academy. "Mr. Su, hello. I am Zhang Yanqing from Linping City Criminal Police Brigade, and this is my partner Zhou Xinxin. We are here about a case and need your help in gathering some information." While introducing themselves, they showed their police badges. "Please sit down. Feel free to ask anything you like, and I'll cooperate fully if I can be of any help to the police." Su Jie warmly invited them to sit and asked a servant to bring some fruit. "Mr. Su, then I'll get straight to the point." Zhang Yanqing seemed easy to talk to as he continued. "The day before yesterday, there was a major fire at Villa No. 12 in Long Beach Villa District in Linping City that resulted in the deaths of Linping's well-known businessman and the chairman of Cold Lily Company, Cui Yunchun, and his secretary Ma Lanfei." Su Jie nodded, saying, "I just saw it on TV earlier. And as I know, Mr. Su is in the lumber business and had dealings with Cold Lily Company. On November 16th, there was a fire in a warehouse you rented at South Bridge Logistics Center, which destroyed a batch of valuable wood," he said quickly, his voice taking on a captivating authority. Zhang Yanqing's eyes were bright. His speech suddenly accelerated, possessing a compelling majesty. "That's right. That batch of wood was painstakingly accumulated by my ancestors and handed down to me, and it all burned up in a big fire, costing me a lot of money," Su Jie replied. Su Jie was not intimidated by Zhang Yanqing's imposing manner. Compared to Taoist Chiu, whom Su Jie had seen, Zhang Yanqing was far less impressive, having no effect on Su Jie. Hearing this, he immediately showed a pained expression on his face, seemingly heartbroken over the loss of the wood. "I want to ask, On the day of the incident, the night of November 17th, what was Mr. Su doing at that time? Zhang Yanqing continued to inquire, closely observing Su Jie's facial expressions. Shrugging his shoulders, Su Jie said, I remember that night very clearly. I was celebrating the transfer of ownership of this villa by throwing a party at home, and many people can vouch for me. You held a party just after your warehouse was burnt down? Zhou Xinxin, who was taking notes, interjected. It was precisely because the warehouse was burnt down that I held a party to ward off the bad luck. As Su Jie spoke, he paused briefly, looked shocked, and pointed at himself. Wait, you aren't suspecting me of setting fire to someone else's villa, are you? I'm a law-abiding good citizen, always well-behaved. If you don't believe me, ask around. Many people that night can testify for me. That's right. Su Jie was with me at that time. I can testify. Lu Yingying immediately stood up, somewhat unhappy looking at the two police officers across from her. How could they falsely accuse such a good brother Su? We're just conducting a routine investigation and have not accused you of being the murderer. Zhang Yanqing chuckled, asked Su Jie a few more questions, and then stood up to leave the villa with Zhou Xinxin. Outside the villa, Zhou Xinxin looked at Zhang Yanqing and pursed her lips. Captain Zhang, do you think he really could be a suspect? Objectively, he has no suspicion, but subjectively, I have my doubts. Everything is too coincidental. Cui Yunchun himself is not clean, having cultivated a group of thugs to do his dirty work. It's possible that it was this group who burned Mr. Su's warehouse. Even more coincidental, on the day after the fire at Cui Yunchun's villa, this group disappeared, vanishing without a trace. Zhang Yanqing adjusted his police cap, sighed deeply and continued. Additionally, on the same day, a senior manager at Southbridge Logistics Center accidentally drowned, and this manager's account had just received a transfer from Cui Yunchun's private account. From all aspects, there are motives and suspicious points to consider. If that's the case, can't we bring him in for questioning? Zhou Xinxin said with slightly furrowed brows, implying Su Jie had a motive to commit arson and murder. How can we arrest someone without evidence? Zhang Yanqing heard this and couldn't help laughing and shaking his head. First, the fire department and coroner at Cui Yunchun's haven't found any traces of murder or intentional arson. And then we checked the surveillance from Jingjiang district on that day. Su Jie and his vehicle were indeed not seen coming or going. Xiao Zhang also asked some of the salespeople at the real estate office, who all confirmed they were with Su Jie at the party that night. The timelines don't match up. Could it be that he had someone else do it? It's possible, but where's the evidence? Zhou Xinxin fell silent, knowing cases aren't resolved on mere hunches. Xiao Zhou, you watched the video from Cui Yunchun's villa on the night of the incident, right? I've watched it several times. There are many cameras around his villa, but they only caught one person entering, a man named who is known to be close to Cui Yunchun. Excluding all other suspects, then I could only conclude from the factual evidence that it was indeed Cui Yunchun who instructed who to burn down Su Jie's warehouse. But perhaps later who had a falling out with Cui Yunchun over sharing the spoils. And in the end, they both perished together. Zhou Xinxin thought about it and realized Zhang Yanqing's guess about the situation sounded much more plausible than Su Jie committing arson. Now, with both parties deceased, with no one to testify, maybe I got it wrong. But this case can only end here. I understand, Captain Zhang. Zhou Xinxin relaxed her brows, unable to resist looking back at that large villa, faintly seeing someone on the second-floor balcony, watching her and Captain Zhang. Rubbing her eyes and looking again, the balcony was empty, apparently just a trick of her sight. Really? They even suspected you. Those police really lack professionalism. Inside the villa, Lu Yingying was still indignant on Su Jie's behalf. The police are just serving the people, and as citizens, cooperating with them is the right thing to do. After all, if you're innocent, you have nothing to fear. Speaking with integrity, Su Jie was telling the truth. All night long, he hadn't laid a finger on anyone. It was all the doing of the thousand-hand centipede. When animals kill people, it's the thousand-hand centipede they should be catching, right? Thousand-hand centipede. Squeak? Let's not talk about this anymore. Ying, are you interested in becoming my secretary? Ah, a secretary, me? Taken aback by Su Jie's sudden change of subject, Lu Ying was utterly bewildered. You heard just now, didn't you? I'm dealing with some wood materials, and I don't have any reliable help on this side. I was thinking, since you've got some abilities, why not quit your job and come help me? With his legs crossed, Su Jie pushed a drafted employment contract across the table. When Lu Ying saw the salary figure on the contract, her mouth fell open in shock. Does this count as being kept by you? Lu Ying's heart raced, the number causing her mouth to go dry. Don't speak so crudely. I appreciate your abilities. Su Jie poked Lu Ying's forehead. He had limited time in Blue Star and needed someone to help watch over things. Lu Ying was relatively close to him. Regardless of her abilities, ensuring a certain level of loyalty was all that mattered. Besides, Su Jie wasn't afraid of betrayal. Just look at what happened with Cui Yunchun. I don't see any reason not to agree. From now on, I'll rely on Mr. Su to take good care of me. After considering for a few seconds, Lu Ying readily agreed, believing that making the right choices was more important than trying hard. In fact, she didn't mind being kept at all. Being a golden canary wasn't so bad, especially since Su Jie was neither old nor ugly. He was in great shape, thrilling her to death in bed, and not to mention, Su Jie had given her a platform to showcase herself. Patting Lu Ying on the head, Su Jie said with a smile, "You little rascal, I'll discipline you tonight. Go tell the auntie to prepare some tea. A guest will be arriving shortly." Already bossing me around, huh? Lu Ying gave Su Jie a peck on the face and then left with a happy spring in her step. 20 minutes later, the guest Su Jie mentioned arrived. At Jingjiang No. 1 Villa, Liang Lianjuan sat cautiously across from Su Jie, feeling very nervous. "What's the matter, Manager Liang? You've grown distant after not seeing me for 2 days." Serving Liang Lianjuan a cup of tea personally, Su Jie said with a smile. No, I just didn't expect Mr. Su to invite me for tea." Liang Lianjuan hurriedly held the tea with both hands. Yet what Su Jie said next made Liang Lianjuan's heart tremble. What can I say? After that kind of incident, inviting you over for tea is just to understand the situation. Chairman Cui was a good man. How could he die so suddenly? I was even planning to sell him this batch of wood materials. The cup clattered, his hand shaking, the scalding tea spilled, and Liang Lianjuan almost jumped out of his seat. "What's wrong? Is the tea not to your liking?" No, I'm just a little excited, haha. Haha, I'm really fine." Liang Lianjuan's smile was extremely stiff. When he heard about Cui Yunchuan's death in a fire a couple of days ago, a terrifying hypothesis crossed his mind. He had also heard that Cui Yunchun came from a shady background, and at the time, he wondered why Cui would refuse to purchase Su Jie's batch of wood. Putting together the fact that Su Jie's warehouse burned down, followed by the night when Cui Yunchun was burned to death at home, even without evidence, one could surmise a lot from the motives. "You seem very afraid of me?" Su Jie's smile was amiable and sincere as he said, "Let me make it clear. I'm genuinely saddened by Chairman Cui's passing, but life must go on, right? You shouldn't dwell too much on it either." "Mr. Su, I'm not." "All right, I know you're a man of loyalty. I called you here because I value that loyalty. I'm thinking of starting a furniture company, and you have many years of experience in the industry. I'll just come right out with it. I want to poach you to work for me as the general manager." Cough, cough. Choking on his tea, Liang Lianjuan caught his breath. "Su, Mr. Su, wasn't your batch of wood burned? How come you're still thinking of?" "Oh, that? I've already purchased a new batch, identical to the previous one in quality. You can rest assured." Liang Lianjuan became even more suspicious when he heard this. In his view, the material Su Jie mentioned might very well be something snatched back from Chairman Cui. "This is the annual salary I'm offering you. Perform well and there's a bonus too. You can think it over. I'm the kind of person who never shortchanges those who work earnestly for me." Su Jie knew that talk is cheap, so he used the power of cash to put forth a contract. Just like Lu Yingying's reaction before, Liang Lianjuan, who had intended to refuse Su Jie's offer, found himself unable to utter his rejection upon seeing the sincerity of the contract before him, simply because the figures on the contract were too dazzling. You know my strength. If you come work for me, I can't promise other things, but a constant supply of high-quality wood material is guaranteed. Coupled with your abilities and connections, our new company will surely be able to quickly break into the high-end furniture market. Recruiting Liang Lianjuan was a move Su Jie had contemplated. Merely selling raw materials would always attract attention. If that was the case, it might be better to process the wood material himself and sell directly to consumers. Liang Lianjuan, with his years of industry experience, capability, and connections, would certainly be more than adequate as a general manager. Swallowing hard, although he surmised that Su Jie might be involved in illegal activities, the contract was just too tempting. Even though he knew that working with Su Jie came with risks, Liang Lianjuan couldn't resist the lure. After several minutes of hesitation, he finally picked up the contract from the table. Mr. Su, I don't have experience in managing a company's overall operations, but since you hold me in high regard, as long as I'm still in the position, I will absolutely manage the company with dedication and help sell our furniture all over the country. That's the spirit. I believe in you. Su Jie shook hands with Liang Lianjuan, then called over Lu Yingying. This is my personal secretary, Lu Yingying. When I'm not around, you can go to her with anything, and she'll pass it on to me. Nice to meet you, Secretary Lu. Nice to meet you, Manager Liang. After the introductions, Su Jie continued, You guys start with the company registration. Elder Liang, take a look at acquiring a processing plant. I'm allocating 30 million in funds for you. That should be enough, right? The 30 million was what Su Jie had mortgaged Jingjiang No. 1 villa for from the bank. That's plenty. But Mr. Su, what's the name of our new company? Liang Lianjuan was even more excited now, with abundant company funds providing him the confidence to work energetically. Let's call it Tianyuan Home, Tianyuan World, Black Market. Having dealt with the matters on Blue Star, Su Jie used the ancient mirror to return here, preparing to purchase the last batch of supplies for the upcoming mountain patrol. The flow of people in the black market was much busier than on regular days. Many from Ghost Ridge Palace harbored the same thoughts as Su Jie, seeking to convert their stored blood marrow crystals into combat power. Taishu Pavilion. Looking up at this 7-story building, one of the most prominent in the black market, Su Jie stepped inside. Taishu Pavilion specialized in selling talismans and magic artifacts, divided into Talisman Hall and Magic Artifact Hall. The talismans here were primarily used by righteous cultivators from the outside world. Demon cultivators could also use them, but not as seamlessly. In the outside world, Taishu Pavilion also had quite a reputation, with a sacrifice from the secret realm overseeing it. Mr. Su. No sooner had he walked in than a woman with a spectacular figure and court attire, a long, splendid 5-colored sash tied around her waist and full, round hips, together with rich, moist lips, free from makeup and appearing about 30 years of age with quite the mature charm, approached him. Sister Kai, we haven't seen each other for a month, and you've become even more beautiful and captivating. Raising an eyebrow, Su Jie spoke with a smile. The woman before him was named Kai Chun-yi, the manager of Taishu Pavilion, renowned in the black market for her beauty. As Su Jie had previously bought talismans from her and had also sold her several poison insects which Taishu Pavilion sought to acquire, they had interacted a few times. Mr.
Su, you jest.
Kai Chun-yi smiled demurely and said with a grin, You never visit without a reason. What are you planning to buy today? I'm here to buy some protective talismans. Su Jie stated his intentions, knowing that while he had sufficient offensive capabilities, his defenses were still lacking. As he had but one life, caution was never excessive. Come with me. Kai Chun-yi nodded slightly and led Su Jie up the staircase to the 2nd floor. As she ascended the stairs in her half-skirt palace attire, her exquisite legs were revealed, and her hips swayed enticingly with every step. Seemingly aware of the attention, Kai Chunyi reached back to smooth down her skirt. On the second floor, hundreds of talismans were displayed on shelves protected by strict prohibition spells, shimmering with spiritual radiance that was captivating to behold. Jealous of these talismans, Su Jie knew that, in the Tianyuan world, whether it was a talisman master, alchemist, or artifact refiner, as long as one had talent and achieved success, they belonged to a first-class wealthy elite. This low-grade basic golden vortex talisman can create a deflective spiritual power field, deflecting incoming long-range attacks, priced at 12 blood marrow crystals. The low-grade basic Godspeed talisman can stimulate the spiritual power meridians of the legs, greatly increasing your speed for 1 minute, priced at 10 blood marrow crystals. There is also the lower-grade intermediate Sky Escape fire talisman that can form a high-temperature fire shield to protect the bearer, priced at 50 blood marrow crystals. Kai Chunyi introduced these items to Su Jie in great detail, but she didn't elaborate much on the more advanced talismans. Their prices were beyond 100 blood marrow crystals, something ordinary outer disciples couldn't afford. Have the prices gone up? I remember the Golden Vortex talisman was only 10 blood marrow crystals before, and the others seem pricier as well. Su Jie furrowed his brow slightly, noticing the hike in prices from the past. Due to recent disruptions to trade by alien ghosts, the cost of stocks has increased, and to barely break even, we had to adjust the prices slightly, explained Kai Chunyi without any sign of panic, apparently used to hearing such queries. Profiteer. Su Jie cursed inwardly. However, considering the sort of merchants who dared to enter the black market and conduct business with Ghost Ridge Palace, it was no surprise they would take advantage of scarcity to inflate prices. I'll check other stores first. Though Kai Chunyi was quite charming, when it came to his own purse, Su Jie was determined to compare prices from different sellers. He could not be blindsided by beauty. Kai Chunyi smiled faintly, confidently saying, "Please feel free, Mr. Su." Su Jie left Taishu Pavilion and headed to other shops selling talismans. Talismans, especially the lower-grade ones that had the highest production and sales, had no so-called intellectual property rules, and many shops sold them. But after touring the entire black market, Su Jie's face was grim. The price hikes in other shops were even worse than at Taishu Pavilion. It wasn't just the talismans. The prices of various combat-related materials had also skyrocketed, causing Su Jie's brows to continuously furrow. An hour later, Su Jie returned to Taishu Pavilion. Kai Chunyi was waiting at the entrance, expecting his return. Upon seeing him, she greeted with a beaming smile. "Mr. Su, Taishu Pavilion's prices are the most sincere in the black market. You can buy with confidence." Su Jie was left speechless because Kai Chunyi's words were indeed the truth. "Give me 2 golden vortex talismans and 1 Godspeed talisman." Su Jie didn't haggle anymore and made his purchase from Kai Chunyi. After spending 10 blood marrow crystals on the Tiger Roar Fist martial art some time ago, he now had only 35 blood marrow crystals left in total, which was the money he had earned from selling Peng Sherwin's corpse. Otherwise, Su Jie would have been even poorer. "Thank you, Mr. Su, for taking care of the business." Kai Chunyi handed over the talismans to Su Jie and collected 34 blood marrow crystals from him. "Do you need to buy anything else? Would you like to take a look at the magic artifacts?" Perhaps seeing Su Jie as one of the wealthier outer disciples, Kai Chunyi continued to pitch her products, hoping to sell even more. "I'm out of money, but if Sister Kai you're willing to give me one for free, I certainly wouldn't mind." Turning out his empty pockets, Su Jie wished he could buy a magic artifact. But unlike talismans, which are one-time use items that are gone after being used, magic artifacts can be used continuously as long as they are not damaged. So even the poorest quality low-grade basic magic artifact is priced at over 100 blood marrow crystals. It wasn't that he didn't want to buy one, he simply couldn't afford it. Kai Chunyi pursed her lips with a smile, cast a charming glance at Su Jie, and said, "I'd be willing, but Taishu Pavilion isn't mine to give away, so I can't offer it. I can only welcome Mr. Su to come and shop again next time." Spreading his hands, Su Jie said with a wry smile, "With these prices, I'm afraid I can't afford it." If this trend of price hikes continued, and the alien ghost problem couldn't be resolved soon, the price of these battle-related goods would certainly keep soaring. After purchasing the talismans, Su Jie didn't linger. No sooner had he stepped out of Taishu Pavilion's main gate than his ears picked up a commotion. He saw on the street that a group of disciples were ostentatiously pushing a flat cart through the crowd. On the cart lay a pale-skinned, over 3 meters tall humanoid creature with claws sharp as steel knives and blood-red eyes. An extremely terrifying sight. It was an alien ghost, but one that was already dead. Its heart had a large hole through which one could see that its internal organs had been shattered. A few disciples stood beside the cart, looking rather pleased with themselves as they surveyed the crowd. Merchants swarmed around them, endlessly flattering the group of disciples. "You've actually managed to kill an alien ghost. You guys are really something. How about selling this alien ghost to us at Bright Light Tower? We're willing to pay a high price, 300 blood marrow crystals for the purchase. Our Chen's Commerce is willing to offer 350 blood marrow crystals. We will offer." The merchants surrounded the cart, fiercely bidding against each other, and the number of joiners to this heated auction kept growing. Behind Su Jie in Taishu Pavilion, Kai Chunyi also hurried out, lifting her skirt as she rushed into the bidding crowd. This scene of frenzied bidding made many disciples on the Black Market Street green with envy. Su Jie felt a pang of desire himself. Alien ghost materials were extremely precious. Their skin and flesh weren't worth much, but their bones were a different story. Grinding the bones of an alien ghost into powder to mix into the forging of a magic artifact could significantly enhance both the success rate and quality of the artifact refining, which was why these merchants were so eager to sell. Who knows what it cost them? Looking at the disciples around the cart, who were more or less bloodied, Su Jie knew the alien ghost's combat power was tremendously strong. Hurting it would require the cooperation of several disciples, let alone killing it. Su Jie watched the auction, and in the end, the alien ghost was sold for a high price of 550 blood marrow crystals. Those merchants who failed to secure the bid dispersed in 2s and 3s, and Kai Chunyi returned with a forlorn expression. "Sister Kai, does Taishu Pavilion also want the body of an alien ghost?" Su Jie saw Kai Chunyi empty-handed and looking very disappointed. For a place as large and well-established as Taishu Pavilion, this seemed unlikely. The pride of the Lin family, Lin Lan, will celebrate her 18th birthday soon. Her father is a famous artifact refiner, planning to personally create an exceptional magic artifact, which requires a large amount of alien ghost bone powder. The price of that has doubled recently, Kai Chunyi explained. Upon hearing Lin family, Su Jie immediately understood. In the outer region of Qingzhou, the Lin family was a vast entity with a lineage spanning thousands of years and filled with numerous experts. These merchants wanted to acquire the alien ghost body likely in hopes of gaining favor with this millennial family. After finishing her explanation, Kai Chunyi continued, "Mr. Su, you're buying talismans because you're going on a mountain patrol, right? If you get a chance to acquire an alien ghost body, remember to think of me. I'll give you a good price." "You really think too highly of me, Sister Kai?" "I'm not that powerful," Su Jie replied. "You never know. I tend to be quite accurate with people," Kai Chunyi said, looking thoughtfully at Su Jie's waist. Then, leaning in close enough for their faces to almost touch, she whispered with a teasing smile, "You seemed quite taken with Sister's backside earlier, Mr. Su. If you manage to get an alien ghost body, I'll let you experience the feeling." Leaving that provocative remark hanging, Kai Chunyi returned to Taishu Pavilion with a seductive sway. "That temptress." Touching his chest, Su Jie looked down, lost in thought. Could she have noticed the situation with the thousand-hand centipede? Unfortunately, this was a question he couldn't easily ask her to confirm. Su Jie had to suppress his doubts for the time being and turned to head back to the Ghost Ridge Palace base. 2 days later, in front of the Ghost Ridge Palace residence, numerous disciples gathered, all belonging to the lineage of Taoist Chiu. Atop the stairs, clad in a purple robe, with snake-like vertical pupils and a thin face, Taoist Chiu held a black python coiling around his left hand, hissing. His gaze towards the disciples was so chillingly cold that they dared not meet his eyes. Pei Haibing and Yu Wenxian, two inner disciples, served to the left and right of Taoist Chiu, as only inner disciples were qualified to stand beside him. Master, all the disciples from our branch above the second level of the Yunling realm have arrived. Yu Wenxian finished counting the numbers and turned to report to Taoist Chiu. Taoist Chiu's expression was indifferent as he slowly said, "The task of patrolling the mountain has been distributed. All branch disciples will participate. You must not tarnish my reputation. Of course, whoever kills the most alien ghosts will also receive a corresponding reward from me." While speaking, the python in Taoist Chiu's hand opened its massive mouth and spat out a white-bone sky-slaying sword. The white-bone sky-slaying sword was about 3 feet long, the blade translucent and pure white. As soon as it appeared, it immediately radiated a glowing spiritual charm, spinning and twirling in mid-air, slicing through the air with a whistling sound, effortlessly piercing through stones as large as millstones. This is the white-bone sky-slaying sword, an excellent choice even among low-grade flying swords. I give you 1 week, and whoever succeeds will depend on your fate. Listening to Taoist Chiu's explanation, all disciples, including the inner disciple Pei Haibing, were envious. The typically stingy Taoist Chiu actually offered such a grand reward. Such a fine low-grade flying sword could fetch thousands of blood marrow crystals on the black market. What a great item! Su Jie's heartbeat quickened. Who wouldn't covet such a flying sword? It's just a pity I don't know sword formulas. Otherwise I could have competed for it. Atop the stairs, Yu Wenxian pursed her lips and said somewhat regretfully. Next to her, Pei Haibing became excited, his eyes intensely fiery as he stared at the white-bone sky-slaying sword. He said, "Master, your disciple will surely not disappoint you. I will slay the alien ghosts to celebrate your upcoming 70th birthday." His cultivation of the white-bone transformation Taoist skill was particularly suited for this magic artifact. Once he obtained the white-bone sky-slaying sword, it would be akin to adding wings to a tiger. In Pei Haibing's view, this was a weapon Taoist Chiu had prepared especially for him, merely using a subtler method to give it to him. To avoid drawing criticism from other disciples, especially the envious looks from Yu Wenxian. If you outcompete the other disciples, this magic artifact will be yours. Taoist Chiu retrieved the white-bone sky-slaying sword, his tone calm. "Master, I will not disappoint you. Go arrange for the dispatch." Taoist Chiu nodded slightly, then departed gracefully. It seems junior brother Pei is determined to obtain the white-bone sky-slaying sword. Once Taoist Chiu had left, Yu Wenxian's eyes shifted, and she said with a gentle smile. Looking over, Pei Haibing was very grateful. "Thanks to Senior Yu for giving me a hand." If Yu Wenxian had competed with him, Pei Haibing would not have had any confidence of winning. Fortunately, from Yu Wenxian's tone just now, it seemed she was willing to step back and befriend him. Thinking this, Pei Haibing grew even more arrogant, thinking that if it weren't for Yu Wenxian's messy lifestyle, having a Taoist couple as beautiful and graceful as senior sister would indeed be wonderful. Yu Wenxian shook her head and said, "I don't really care, but Master has so many disciples. It's not certain you will get the white-bone sky-slaying sword." Pei Haibing looked coldly at the numerous disciples below and arrogantly said, "Senior sister, you must be joking. Those insects below, lacking in potential and talent, are destined for a lifetime of menial tasks and catching poison insects. What can they use to compete with me?" These words sparked resentment among many disciples below. But what could they do when Pei Haibing was an inner disciple, and his strength was even at the 6th level of the Yunling realm? Down below, Su Jie also heard this, but he was not as angry as the others. While Pei Haibing was indeed arrogant, Su Jie was more concerned with Yu Wenxian. This woman, was she intentionally setting Pei Haibing up as a target to alienate him from the other disciples? This woman is not simple. Su Jie sighed inwardly, finding Yu Wenxian more noteworthy compared to the simple Pei Haibing. Then let's congratulate junior brother Pei in advance. The master said to arrange for the dispatch, so let's take action quickly. Yu Wenxian smiled, leaving Pei Haibing appearing very pleased with himself. Pei Haibing nodded, regaining his indifferent expression, and spoke. Those called by name, come forward to fetch your token, which marks your assigned defense area. Luo Ruxin, Cheng Jian, Yao Shui, first token, stationed southwest of Golden Sand Mountain. Fei Yinglong, Lu Yu, Chu Dong, stationed at the eastern cliff of Plum Blossom Valley. One by one, those called stepped forward. Some were elated as they received their tokens, while others looked like they were mourning. Because the teammates and stationed areas varied in danger levels, the weaker the teammates, the more hazardous their duty stations, the different the risk factor. Taoist Chiu had entrusted the full responsibility of arranging the mundane task of mountain patrolling to Pei Haibing and Yu Wenxian, and the duo did not miss the opportunity to profit heavily from it. Desiring strong teammates and safe stationed areas meant having to bribe the two. Su Jie, Gu Weionian, Sun Jihai, 9th Sea Token, stationed at Niujiao Ridge. Most people had already completed forming their groups in pairs or trios. Su Jie looked at the token marked 9C. On its front was his name, and on the back the designated area where he would be stationed. Along with Su Jie, who received the same token, there was also Gu Weionian, whom he had once met. There was also a disciple named Sun Jihai, who suffered from a disability, missing a left hand, his complexion pale and showing signs of illness. Su Jie knew this was because the other party could not provide enough poisonous insects to his life-bound poisonous insect and had to resort to regular blood transfusions, resulting in physical weakness. When the three of them received their tokens, Pei Haibing did not even look them in the eye. It was clear that the three were grouped together because they hadn't offered blood marrow crystals as bribes. Thus, they ended up as teammates. Moreover, Niujiao Ridge, far from Ghost Ridge Palace, was surrounded by poisonous miasmas and deep valleys, notoriously frequented by alien ghosts. These three individuals, one old, one disabled, one insignificant junior disciple, are all headed to Niujiao Ridge. TSK, it's doubtful they will return. As they descended, many disciples cast strange glances their way. Discerning people could tell that Su Jie and his companions were deliberately arranged by Pei Haibing. Brother Su, long time no see. Gu Weionian greeted Su Jie with a clasped hand, his face showing a bitter smile. You didn't bribe the inner sect either? Huh. I'm poor. This concise statement left Gu Weionian speechless, as he was in the same boat. Ahem. It seems we are all in the same boat. My health is quite poor. I request you to look after me more when we are in Niujiao Ridge. Sun Jihai coughed twice, speaking with weak breath, his body extremely frail. Fellow Taoists, we are also assigned to station at Niujiao Ridge. My name is Chen Yun. This is my younger brother Chen Koyan, and Su Chaoxian, my husband. A woman approached, around 25 or 26 years old, quite beautiful, and now clasped hands toward Su Jie and the others. My name is Su Jie. This is Gu Weionian and Sun Jihai. Su Jie returned the greeting. The family in front of him seemed well prepped for mountain patrol. A light shone in Gu Weionian's eyes as he eagerly stepped forward. Haha! It looks like we are not alone after all. It's better to be in a team, much better. Su Chaoxian, a man of few words, did not join the conversation, seemingly letting his wife, Chen Yun, make all decisions. Humph, one old, one cripple, sis, why waste words with them? Make sure they don't hold us back later. Chen Koyan crossed his arms with a look of disdain. Sun Jihai's eyes dodged, too intimidated to speak. Gu Weionian's face also colored with embarrassment since his age was apparent. What breed are you to talk like this? We're all here because we couldn't afford to be anywhere but Niujiao Ridge. How high and mighty can you be? Su Jie wasn't one to tolerate disrespect, and immediately retorted against the disdainful remarks. What did you say? Unexpected by Chen Koyan's reaction, he became visibly embarrassed, and his clothes suddenly bursting open from the back. A swarm of finger-sized, fiery red poisonous ants crazily emerged, covering half his body, and started spreading toward Su Jie. Enough! Did I tell you to talk too much? Chen Yun suddenly turned around, slapping her brother Chen Koyan on the head, dazing him. Su Jie's eyes narrowed slightly. This person did not hide the flow of spiritual power in her body while attacking, revealing her strength at the 4th level of the Yunling realm. Or perhaps, was this intentionally done by her to set a dominating presence right from the start? When she acted, an ugly bat emerged from her sleeve, emitting a silent menace. The ants crawling on Chen Koyen became rigid under the influence of the inaudible sound waves, their previously aggressive posture suddenly calming down. It must be Chun Yun's life-bound poisonous insect, a very rare and unique type called Ming Shang bat. Sorry everyone, my younger brother is a bit unruly. I apologize on his behalf as his elder sister. No worries, no worries. Everyone's young once. Gu Weonian, not wanting relations to sour, could only try to smooth things over as best as he could. Although he too was at the 4th level of the Yunling realm, due to his advanced age and previous hidden injuries from his youth, his flow of spiritual power was not even as strong as that of Sun Jihai, who was at the 3rd level. Su Jie noticed Chen Koyen glaring unhappily at him and touched his chest to soothe the restless thousand-handed centipede. It wasn't to that extent yet. It wasn't necessary to kill anyone over a mere comment. He wasn't that heartless. Disciples who have received tokens must set out immediately without delay. Those who do not arrive at the designated station within the allotted time will face the law enforcement team. Meanwhile, Pei Haibing, having finished distributing the tokens, dropped a cold sentence and left Ghost Ridge Palace with 2 disciples. The disciples packed their bags and began their trek. Let's go as well. Su Jie packed his hefty bag and followed the crowd heading toward the mountains far from the sect. So-called mountain patrol was not without its intricacies. The locations where the disciples were stationed were not randomly assigned. They were strategically placed concerning the key routes leading into Ghost Ridge Palace from the outside world. This arrangement was primarily to protect that trade route. Located within the mountains, most of the resources for Ghost Ridge Palace had to be brought in from the outside world. If external supplies were cut off, the black market would cease to operate, causing extreme difficulties for Ghost Ridge Palace. The weakest disciples sent on mountain patrol had at least attained the 2nd level of Yunling realm, which made them much stronger on foot than ordinary people. Even as they traversed steep mountains and ridges, their speed was not slow. As time passed, more disciples reached their temporary stations and departed, and the long dragon-like line of disciples became shorter and shorter. By sunset, only less than 10 groups remained in the line. There's Niu Jiao Ridge, Su Jie said. After crossing a ravine-filled narrow canyon, 2 small hills positioned like horn tips appeared in view. We've finally arrived, said Sun Jihai, panting and drenched in sweat, sitting down on the ground while supporting his knees. The journey had almost worn him out. Black mountains and white waters, twin peaks like horns, a heart-piercing blade, precarious, truly a dangerous place. Looking at the terrain of Niu Jiao Ridge, Gu Weonian twisted a string of prayer beads in his left hand, murmuring under his breath. Curiously, Su Jie asked, "Brother Gu, do you understand geomancy?" With a self-deprecating smile, Gu Weonian responded, "A bit of this and that. I can't advance in my cultivation, so I have to pick up various other skills." The 2 groups, totaling 6 people, headed toward Niu Jiao Ridge. As they reached the foot of the hill, they spotted wooden huts built every few hundred meters within the forest, though these places were already manned. 6 disciples waiting there kindly observed Su Jie and his group as they arrived. The leader among these disciples, an elegantly mannered middle-aged man, immediately approached them cheerfully. "You are from Taoist Chou's lineage, right? We received a letter from the command hall 2 days ago. We've been waiting for you. My name is Meng Donga. I've been here 12 days, under Elder Zhong's command." Meng Donga, this man is a 5th level of Yunling realm. I've heard he offended an inner disciple, now it seems true. Otherwise, with his abilities, why would he be sent here? Gu Weonian quietly said to Su Jie, who had been living in Ghost Ridge Palace for many years, and had access to much gossip. "Mr. Meng, hello, we are ordered to be stationed here," Su Jie said, pulling out his token, speaking in formal terms. "Mr. Meng, hello, we just arrived. Sorry to trouble you." Chen Yun spoke very politely, representing her party. Meng Donga's expression shifted slightly, seemingly noticing that among the 6 people from Chen Yun's side, she had the highest cultivation, and his tone became considerably warmer. It's fine, it's fine. I'll lead you to your station. Having more people increases our sense of security. You wouldn't believe, but I haven't had a good night's sleep in half a month. Thank you. Let's go. Let's head over together. The group moved towards the temporary station, and soon Su Jie and Chen Yun's teams were assigned to adjacent wooden huts on the left side of the peak at Niujiao Ridge. Approximately 2 kilometers away from the huts on the right side of the peak where Meng Dongge and others were stationed. Meng Dongge distributed some supplies necessary for living and repeated a few points of caution before turning to leave. He's really a good man. Much more pleasant than that guy named Chun Kodong who we just met, Sun Jihai exclaimed as he watched Meng Dongge walk away. Sincere disciples like this were rare among the often indifferent and ruthless Ghost Ridge Palace disciples. Gu Weonian nodded and added, "Earlier, Meng Dongge mentioned hoping we could come over to share the burden and collectively face the threat of alien ghosts. A common human reaction? He's genuinely sincere, right?" Finding agreement, Sun Jihai then turned to Su Jie and asked, "Brother Su, what do you think? Instead of discussing this, let's clean up the house first," replied Su Jie, not delving too much into the conversation. After all, he felt that, in a demon cultivation sect like Ghost Ridge Palace, finding a genuinely good person was extraordinarily difficult. As they talked, Su Jie stepped forward and pushed open the wooden door of the 3-story wooden house in front of him. Such wooden huts were not temporarily built but had long been established. Disciples sometimes used them for short stays while on missions outside, and the houses contained dry food and simple bedding. However, as these instances were relatively rare and the houses were only used for temporary rest, no one cleaned them, leaving the houses generally very filthy. Creak. The grating sound of the heavy wooden door opening as Su Jie walked into the house first. The interior was not as disorderly as he had expected. Rather, it was exceptionally well kept. Running a finger across the surface of a table, Su Jie rolled his fingers together, finding no dust. Looking up, the ceiling also bore no cobwebs. It seemed that not long ago, someone had still been living and cleaning this place. Turning to Gu Weonian and Sun Jihai, who had just entered, Su Jie said, "There must have been people stationed in this room before we arrived. Did they mention if anyone other than Meng Dongge's group had been stationed here at Niujiao Ridge?" Taken aback, Gu Weonian said, "Who knows? You can only find out the details of the disciples' assignments at the command hall, but no one cares unless it's an inner disciple. Perhaps some disciples cleaned it when they temporarily stationed here, saving us the trouble." Sun Jihai put down his bundle, opened all the doors and windows, and then picked out a room for himself. "Brother Su, what are you thinking about?" Seeing Su Jie's slight frown, Gu Weonian was puzzled. Meng Dongge only mentioned fearing the threat of the alien ghost. I remember they hadn't encountered an alien ghost. Had they? No, he seems not to have mentioned that. Is there a problem? Did you notice? Meng Dongge's 2 teams were perfectly intact. 6 people exactly. If a team had been stationed here before we arrived and they encountered an alien ghost disaster, yet Meng Dongge's group remained unharmed with all members accounted for, don't you think there's a problem? Su Jie shared some of his suspicions, as now was not the time for riddles since everyone was in the same trench. More fighting power meant more security. Old and cunning, Gu Weonian was woken up by Su Jie's hint and couldn't help saying, "Are you suggesting we fell into a trap?" "Not sure, but it's possible, considering the house was chosen by Meng Dongge." As Su Jie's tightly knit brows relaxed, he continued, "I want to find another stationary spot. Whether it's true or not, it's safer to be cautious. As they say, a wise man does not stand beneath a tottering wall." Su Jie was unwilling to take risks, especially those concerning life. "Right, let's change places." Surviving to such an old age in a ruthless sect like Ghost Ridge Palace, Gu Weonian might not have the best talent, but he knew that being cautious ensured longevity, albeit sounding either careful or cowardly. Hearing Su Jie's words and harboring suspicions, Gu Weonian wisely decided to follow. Just then, Sun Jihai, who had chosen his room upstairs, came down and asked, "Hey, aren't you choosing rooms? I've taken the one on the left upstairs. Pick another one." "Brother Sun, we plan to change our stationing spot," Gu Weonian said, immediately sharing Su Jie's suspicions with Sun. "Ah, could it be that you're overthinking it?" Hearing this, Sun Jihai was reluctant, since cleaning another house would be required. "Anyway, I'm leaving." Su Jie glanced at him, picked up his bundle, and walked out the door. "Brother Sun, it'd be best for you to come with us," Gu Weonian kindly admonished, grabbing his bundle and quickly following Su Jie. "Hey, you guys, I'm coming too. Don't leave me behind." Although somewhat reluctant, Sun Jihai was more afraid of being left alone. Seeing the two walking away, he hurriedly packed his bundle and caught up with Su Jie and Gu Weonian. At Niujiao Ridge, similar wooden houses were numerous. Su Jie did not go far and stopped at one about 700 to 800 meters away. "This is the place. Let's clean the house first." As Su Jie pushed open the door of the chosen wooden house, a musty smell wafted out. The table and floor were covered with a thick layer of dust, indicating it had been uninhabited for a long time. "Brother Su, about Chen Yun, should we go over and remind him?" Gu Weonian hesitated and then tentatively spoke. "I'm not that petty. However, others might not believe it or want to move." Su Jie was non-committal. Being a good person was not easy these days. Patting his chest, Gu Weonian said, "No worries. I'll just go and let him know. Then go quickly and come back quickly." Su Jie looked at the sky. The sun was already setting behind the mountains. Though the alien ghosts roamed day and night, nighttime remained their most active period, making it too dangerous to be out alone. "All right, I'm heading there now." Gu Weonian immediately set off, considering the distance wasn't too far. Meanwhile, Su Jie and Sun Jihai started cleaning the house. Not thoroughly, but just removing the dust accumulated in the living areas. Su Jie also set up a few simple bell traps afterward, though these were hardly effective against alien ghosts. Alien ghosts weren't mere beasts. They possessed high intelligence and knew how to avoid common traps. The real security measure was the dozen dragonflies Su Jie released. Their panoramic vision greatly facilitated surveillance the area. Besides the dragonflies, Su Jie also released a few small moths since dragonflies' vision at night was poor, and night-active moths could compensate for this lack. After cleaning the house, Su Jie heard crows cawing outside. Stepping out of the house, he saw a black crow circling in the sky, making strange, hoarse cries that echoed far and wide, continually tormenting people's ears. Su Jie took out a black feathered folding fan from his chest and vigorously waved it high. Soon, the black crow landed on Su Jie's shoulder, its beak gaping wide. Feeling around his body, Su Jie grabbed a reconnaissance dragonfly and fed it to the crow. Then he removed a piece of paper from its leg, picked up a pen, wrote down the day's itinerary, stamped it with his handprint, and tied it back onto the leg. Only then did he release the crow again, watching it disappear into the sky. This kind of crow was actually a messenger crow, cultivated by Ghost Ridge Palace to deliver messages. Divine Sense 1,000-mile transmission, a lofty magic skill, was not something disciples could learn. Messenger crows traveled daily between Ghost Ridge Palace Mountain Gate and the various disciples' locations, with disciples required to report their daily activities and any situations encountered. If any actions were needed from the disciples, orders were also conveyed via messenger crow. Shortly after the crow flew off, Gu Weonian returned, but unfortunately, he brought back bad news. Not successful? Seeing a trace of embarrassment on Gu Weonian's face, Su Jie knew that things had probably not gone well. Good talk or bad talk, they just wouldn't believe it. And that Chun Kodong was even. Gu Weonian shook his head without continuing, evidently having faced no shortage of ridicule. Sun Jihai also expressed his opinion, saying, "Let's not meddle in others' affairs. Since they don't want to, we just need to look after ourselves." Su Jie consoled, "Let it go. Just consider their words as idle talk and don't take them to heart." "I understand. That's good. We'll take turns on watch tonight. You go and rest well first." "Oh, Late at night, the third watch, the forest floor was completely engulfed in darkness. Atop Nyojiao Ridge, the noisy cicadas of the day fell silent. Clouds obscured the full moon. In front of the cabin, an ancient tree stood quietly. Its age was at least 1,000 years, its roots like coiled dragons, its bark like cracked rocks, laden with scaly scars like a gaunt old man. Whoosh! A gust of night wind blew by, the branches swayed. The candlelight shining from the cabin cast patchy shadows amongst the withered branches and leaves, making it appear even more terrifying, like a fanged and clawed demon. At this moment, Su Jie was sitting atop this ancient tree, sharing a view with several moths, constantly watching for any movements within 100 meters. "Brother Su, it's my turn to take over." From the cabin, yawning Gu Weonian walked out and waved toward Su Jie in the treetop. "Brother Gu, be careful. If anything happens, call out immediately. Don't worry, despite my age, I still have my vigilance." If Gu Weonian hadn't finished speaking when Su Jie suddenly exclaimed, "Wait! What was that noise? Did you hear something?" "What?" Before Gu Weonian could react, Su Jie's gaze pierced through the darkness outside. In the silent night, apart from a few indistinct bird cries, there was no other sound, as if he had just imagined it. "Brother Su, this is your first night patrol. You might be too tense." Having thought there was a misunderstanding, Gu Weonian shook his head, about to continue speaking when his voice suddenly halted. He and Su Jie exchanged glances, together hearing a faint sound. Squeak, squeak. The continuous, fragmented cries entered their ears, sounding somewhat like rats squeaking. Right after, Su Jie and Gu Weonian saw a blood-soaked bat tumbling from the sky like a bird with broken wings. It's Chun Yun's life-bound poisonous insect, that Ming Shang bat. Su Jie's expression shifted slightly as he recognized the origin of the bat. This type of bat was a very rare poison insect that could produce infrasound waves undetectable to humans. Not only could it shatter and explode objects, but when used on living beings, it could also cause resonance in human organs, leading to fatal ruptures of internal blood vessels, making it a particularly vicious and sneaky poison insect. The insect was now falling from the sky, suffering some kind of injury, bleeding from its mouth and nose. Su Jie stepped forward and leaped high to catch the Ming Shang bat. The bat was 2 sizes larger than a palm and was now emitting bursts of mournful cries. Something must have happened to Chen Yun. It might be an alien ghost. "Go wake up Brother Sunday." Su Jie took a deep breath. The Ming Shang bat's appearance here was a signal from Chen Yun, a plea for help. Gu Weonian quickly summoned someone, and soon Sun Jihai was awakened from his sleep. Gu Weonian's shivering legs immediately ran fast, not daring to delay. Hearing that an alien ghost might be lurking, Sun Jihai, still somewhat sleepy, suddenly felt a chill and instantly no trace of sleep remained. Should we really go? If it's really an alien ghost?" At the critical moment, Sun Jihai hesitated, a trace of fear appearing on his face. Su Jie, with a grave expression, said, "Of course we can't be reckless. We'll first observe from the outskirts. If we indeed encounter a tough opponent, we can't be blamed for not rescuing them." Sun Jihai breathed a sigh of relief. This was much safer. Demon cultivators didn't have the heart to sacrifice themselves for others. Gu Weonian said nothing more. Through his interactions, he had realized that Su Jie was very cautious and felt confident in Su Jie's approach. The 3 of them headed toward Chun Yun's residence without any torches or lanterns, fearing they might attract unknown enemies in the dim environment. Still some distance away, Su Jie's nose twitched, faintly smelling blood in the air. The silhouette of Chun Yun and his colleague's cabin was now visible nearby. The battle seems to have already ended there. Having observed secretly with a moth, Su Jie's gaze grew complex as he stood up, lit the torch he carried, and walked toward the cabin. About 100 meters from the cabin, a gruesome battlefield appeared before them. The ground was covered with a layer of dead poisonous insects, numerous poison snakes and ants crushed to pulp. An ant queen, the size of a soccer ball, was missing half of its body. Another, a desk-sized giant grasshopper, was bisected, Green insect blood splattered everywhere. These were the life-bound poisonous insects of Chun Kodong and Su Chaoxian. Since even the life-bound poisonous insects had met such a fate, needless to say about the owners themselves. During the day, the brash Chun Kodong's face was torn and hung on a branch, his body dismembered. Su Chaoxian was left with only a head, his body nowhere to be found. At the edge of the battlefield, a blood-drenched corpse leaned against the base of a large tree. If not for the chest that was still faintly heaving, almost no one would believe the person was still alive. It was Chen Yun, the only survivor still breathing at the scene. Unexpectedly, besides Su Jie's group who had just arrived, someone had reached the scene earlier. It was Meng Donga from the other side of Niujiao Ridge. He, holding a torch, seemed also surprised that Su Jie's group had arrived so quickly. "Brother Su, we're late." As soon as they met, Meng Donga sighed and pointed to the ground filled with dead insects. "I heard the noise and sensed something wrong, so I came to support immediately. Still, I was a step behind the alien ghost and couldn't save Chen Yun's husband and brother. It's all my fault. It's us who found out too late, after all. We were closer to Chen Yun and the others." While speaking, Su Jie carefully observed his surroundings, staying on guard. After all, it wasn't necessarily the alien ghost who attacked Chen Yun and the others. It could very well have been Meng Donga right in front of him. No one wants this kind of thing to happen. Since it really was the alien ghost, we can only blame bad luck. Gu Weonian glanced at the situation on the scene and immediately figured out a rough scenario. Most likely, Chen Yun and the others encountered the alien ghost at night, lost due to an unfavorable defense, leading to the deaths of Chun Kodong and Su Chaoxian. That Meng Donga and his group could come so quickly to support was considered very loyal among the Ghost Ridge Palace disciples. Even Gu Weonian, from the same lineage as Elder Chiu as Chen Yun, hesitated quite a bit about coming to support, let alone the disciples of other branches like Meng Donga's group. This is just too tragic. Sun Jihai felt his scalp tingle. It's not that he hadn't seen dead people before, but Chen Yun and the others were part of his group to patrol and guard the mountains. To fall into such a situation on the first day made him empathize deeply. Chen Yun is still breathing. After checking Chen Yun's condition, Su Jie turned to Meng Donga and asked, "Mr. Meng, why are you alone? Where are the other 5 members of your team?" "They went to kill that beast. We can't let the leader of this disaster get away. I stayed here to protect Chen Yun." Meng Donga gritted his teeth in hatred as he explained. As they spoke, intense shouts reached their ears. "Quick! Stop it! Use the 9 curves net. Block its escape route. All together, we're about to get it." Accompanied by shouts, a 3-meter-tall creature darted past Su Jie and the others. Its skin was pale, it hunched its body, and moved on all 4s. Its claws were like steel blades, creating a menacing sight. "Alien ghost!" Gu Weonian screamed in fear. The atmosphere was too eerie. Any slight rustle could put one on edge. The sudden appearance of the alien ghost nearly scared him breathless. Could it be that I'm overthinking? Su Jie pondered inwardly. It was really an alien ghost. Had he misunderstood Meng Donga? "Run, run. We can't defeat the alien ghost." With a trembling voice, Sun Jihai constantly touched his chest, where a green lizard poked its head out. He even summoned his life-bound poisonous insect. "Watch closely. This alien ghost is nearly finished." Su Jie raised his hand to stop the two. The pair calmed down and then realized the alien ghost was covered with wounds, suffering from corrosive and penetrating injuries, and its torn muscular tissues were widely exposed to the air. Even its internal organs spilled out. Its movements were sluggish. It couldn't survive much longer without interference. After darting out not too many meters, the alien ghost eventually collapsed due to severe injuries, its blood nearly drained, falling to the ground. Buzz, buzz. Following this, a large swarm of poisonous insects arrived. Hundreds of locusts, poisonous snakes, scorpions, killer bees, and venomous spiders engulfed the alien ghost. The massive influx of lethal toxins finished off the severely injured alien ghost, rendering it motionless and struggle-free. 5 Ghost Ridge Palace disciples emerged from the forest where the alien ghost had run through, holding various items such as nets and ropes. These were the other 5 members of Meng Donga's team. They quickly surrounded the corpse of the alien ghost, eyeing Su Jie and his companions warily. This was due to the concern that Su Jie and the others might be tempted by the valuable corpse of the alien ghost, which had dramatically increased in price. What are you all doing? Our 3 comrades aren't the type to act recklessly. There's no need for such precautions. How does it look to others? Meng Donga rebuked sharply, scolding the other 5 fiercely. Instead, this made Sun Jihai and Gu Weonian quite embarrassed. Gu Weonian cleared his throat and said, "Mr. Meng, since this alien ghost was hunted by you and also avenged Chen Yun, we harbor no inappropriate thoughts." Sun Jihai similarly smiled awkwardly. "Yes, Mr. Meng, you worry too much. We do have our principles." Although they were extremely eager for the body of the alien ghost, which once sold on the black market, would easily bring in several hundred blood marrow crystals, morally and especially in terms of power, any attempt to seize it would be suicidal. Su Jie's eyes narrowed. This approach of retreating to advance was quite crafty. Looking at Gu Weonian and Sun Jihai's reactions, it was clear both had fallen for it. Su Jie didn't immediately point it out. Instead, he appeared even more righteous than Sun Jihai and Gu Weonian, saying, "Mr. Meng, it's only human for them to think this way. After all, our reputation as demon cultivators isn't very good. But rest assured, I, Su Jie, always act upright and detest evil. If it's not mine, I definitely won't take it." Gu Weonian was speechless. Wasn't that statement a bit too much? Are you really a demon cultivator, kid? Meng Donga smiled again and loudly said, "My fellow Taoists, please don't take offense. We expended a lot of effort and resources such as talismans and poison insects to successfully hunt this alien ghost. We have no choice but to sell it to recuperate our costs. Otherwise we would have shared some with you. I do feel bad about this. Here, during this current battle, these dead poisonous insects will be left for you to handle, especially since they all belong to people from the same lineage as Elder Chiu." "Thank you very much." Gu Weonian and Sun Jihai bowed together. The many dead poisonous insects in the surrounding area, when used for their own life-bound poisonous insects, were quite beneficial, especially those belonging to Chun Kodong and Su Chaoxian. "Mr. Meng, you're too polite." Su Jie moved quickly, and before Gu Weonian and Sun Jihai could see his actions, he had already grabbed the most valuable queen ant corpse from the ground. This move even stumped Meng Donga, who gave Su Jie a strange look. "Is that what you call not taking? So you're only interested in the big ones? Since that's the case, we won't stay here any longer. Chun is severely injured now, why not leave her to us? I will see if I can try to heal her." Meng Donga kindly made this suggestion as he looked toward Chen Yun. Sun Jihai and Gu Weonian were just about to agree, since the now helplessly injured Chen Yun was just a burden, and handing her over would be convenient. However, at that moment, Su Jie suddenly spoke up. "There's no need to trouble Mr. Meng with this. Chen Yun belongs to our branch, and we have a responsibility to take care of her current condition. We still have some medicine for injuries that could be very helpful." Meng Donga was startled, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Really, it's not necessary." Su Jie shook his head to refuse. Even Sun Jihai and Gu Weonian were quite puzzled. Was he really as upright as he claimed? "Well, I won't force the issue then. I hope Taoist Chen Yun recovers soon." Meng Donga didn't insist further and smiled as he took his leave. "We need to handle the alien ghost corpse as soon as possible, so we won't stay here any longer. The 3 of you take care. If you encounter an alien ghost, be sure to ask for our help immediately. I don't want to see what happened to Taoist Chen Yun happen to you. Take care. Take care." The 2 groups bowed to each other, and Meng Donga and his group carried the alien ghost corpse away from the battlefield. Meanwhile, Sun Jihai and Gu Weonian could hardly wait to start collecting various poisonous insect corpses from the ground. The freshly dead poisonous insects were particularly suitable as food for their life-bound poisonous insects. Su Jie watched Meng Donga and the others disappear into the woods, his fingers curling slightly. A moth, taking advantage of the cover of night, silently followed them with fluttering wings. This method of insect control, common among the inner disciples, was hard to detect without specific defenses. "Brother Su, we've struck it big today." After counting, Gu Weonian was quite excited. The poisonous insect corpses they collected from the battlefield filled a basket. A pretty fruitful loot indeed. Tonight's haul isn't bad. Su Jie glanced over, but compared to Meng Dongge and his group's acquisition of the alien ghost corpse, these insect corpses were hardly impressive. "But, did you really think you could deceive everyone?" Licking his lips, Su Jie glanced at Chen Yun on the ground and then at Meng Dongge and the others disappearing from view, his lips curving into a chilling smile. Niu Jiao Ridge, inside a wooden house on the southern peak. The 6 men from Meng Dongge's group had just returned here. Jubilant beside them lay the corpse of an alien ghost. "Dongge, it's your strategy that's formidable. Another successful hunt for an alien ghost tonight, without any effort." A disciple, extremely excited, spoke while caressing the alien ghost's body, utterly fascinated. "Following my lead can't be wrong. Those disciples are just paupers. How much money can they have? They don't compare to the value of an alien ghost. It's perfect for making use of such waste." Meng Dongge's demeanor was no longer friendly and amiable. His face bore a trace of a cold sneer. Indeed, all thanks to you, Dongge, for getting a batch of gentiana. Otherwise this plan wouldn't have been so easily successful. These demon-like alien ghosts. Before I couldn't have even dreamed of hunting them without paying a price." The disciples nearby continuously echoed in agreement, full of admiration and flattery in their words towards Meng Dongge. "Speaking of which, what's with Su Jie and his people? I went over to the cabin earlier and noticed they've moved to another hut. Could they have discovered something?" "Impossible," Meng Dongge immediately interjected, confidently claiming. "I buried the gentiana under the roots in the soil. Only an alien ghost can smell that unique scent. No one else could find it. They're probably just a bit suspicious, not fully trusting our arrangements. In that case, next time I pay a visit under the guise of benevolence, I'll take the opportunity to bury some gentiana around their hut. Let's see if they can still change their dwelling. This will definitely work. When they lure the alien ghost over, we just have to wait for them to fight the ghost to a standstill and reap the benefits like a fisherman." The disciples' eyes shone brightly, as if seeing a torrent of wealth flowing into their pockets. Meng Dongge and his people discussed their schemes without any restraint, contemplating how to set their trap. Little did they know, at the window, a moth quietly clung to the surface, hearing all their loud scheming loud and clear. "Oh, heh! Just as I thought. The last piece of the puzzle is in place." At the same time, on the northern peak of Niu Jiao Ridge, Su Jie slowly opened his eyes, ceasing the vision sharing with the moth. In the main hall of the wooden house, Chen Yun, who had just been rescued, was temporarily placed here. Her wounds were severe. Her body was ripped open by the alien ghost's sharp claws, leaving several deep gashes that exposed her bones. Even her intestines were out in the open air. Had her body not been far superior to an ordinary human's, she would have died already. The bleeding has stopped for now, but the alien ghost's attack, due to its claws carrying some corrosive poison, will depend on whether she can survive without her wounds festering. Gu Weonian checked and found Chen Yun's condition to be pessimistic. "I understand. Let's set Chen Yun aside for now and discuss other matters." Su Jie stood up from the cushion, called Gu Weonian and Sun Jihai over, and said, "Regarding tonight's events, what are your thoughts?" "Thoughts? Wasn't it just an accident? It's just that Chen Yun and the others were too unlucky." Brother Su, you don't think that they were attacked by Mr. Meng, do you? You saw the alien ghost corpse earlier. Your previous suspicions weren't accurate." Gu Weonian was perplexed, recalling how not long ago, Su Jie had doubted Meng Dongge. But the facts proved Su Jie was wrong. Instead, Meng Dongge heroically saved others, fully proving himself to be a good person. "Yeah, Brother Su, isn't Mr. Meng good enough? Braving the threat of the alien ghost, he personally led the rescue. We can't falsely accuse someone. Sun Jihai also defended Meng Dongge. Both appeared to hold Meng Dongge in high regard. His helpful character combined with the personal risk he took was indeed very convincing. Don't you find it all too coincidental? Su Jie knew they would question him, and he analyzed the night's events one by one. Chen Yun and I just arrived today, and her group was attacked by an alien ghost, which seems far too coincidental. Also, wasn't Meng Dongge's group's response too quick after the attack? They were even further from Chen Yun's hut, yet they arrived before us and even had a fierce battle with the alien ghost, as if they had been waiting there in advance. Silence. The hall fell silent at Su Jie's words. Gu Weonian swallowed nervously, uneasy, and said, Su, Brother Su, with no concrete evidence, this might just be overthinking on your part. Though he said this, Gu Weonian pondered Su Jie's words and indeed found several questionable points. Brother Gu, think about it. When Meng Dongge's group appeared, the items they were carrying, the 9 curves net, the earth-sinking thunderfire mirror, the heavenly gang rope. Do you remember? These items are all used for setting traps and ambushes. Do you think, if Meng Dongge really went on a rescue, would he bring all these items with him? Su Jie's voice was eerily calm, not angered by Gu Weonian's skepticism, but instead laid out the facts for analysis. Gu Weonian turned pale with nothing to retort, as Su Jie's analysis was all based on facts. Brother Su, this is all just your speculation. They don't count as evidence. I know you want to get your hands on that alien ghost's corpse, but we don't have the strength for it, and we can't just go and snatch it. Please don't drag us down with you. Sun Jihai stood up angrily, feeling that Su Jie coveted the value of the alien ghost, and had come up with these seemingly equivocal speculations to drag himself and Gu Weonian into the mess. Yet he didn't consider their combined strengths. All 3 of them together might not even match Meng Dongge, let alone the fact that they were outnumbered, as there were 6 disciples on Meng Dongge's side. Do you all actually want evidence, or are you too afraid to admit the truth? Su Jie looked over with a profound gaze that made Sun Jihai feel somewhat guilty. He wasn't sure if Su Jie actually had any concrete evidence. You, cough. Is everything you said really true? Just then, a voice as weak as a mosquito's came through. It was Chen Yun, who had been unconscious until now, waking up just in time to hear Su Jie's analysis. Her eyes glaring fiercely, filled with intense rage that crowded her chest, so much so that she disregarded her own injuries, struggling to sit up and reopened her freshly closed wounds. Su Jie turned to look at Chen Yun and said indifferently, You should rest first. Even if this is true, you can't do anything about it. Right now, you're a cripple. I want to kill them all. Chen Yun bit her lips so hard they bled, unaware of the pain, her heart full of anger that had nowhere to be vented. That very night, the people closest to her, her husband and brother, had both died, initially believed to be due to an alien ghost attack, a case of mere bad luck. However, listening to Su Jie's analysis, she realized there was more to the situation, seemingly a trap set up by Meng Dongge and his group. Su Jie no longer paid any attention to Chen Yun. When he had saved her, he had thought she might be treatable. Then he would have additional fighting power on his side, which would be convenient for a confrontation with Meng Dongge. But what he got back was just a cripple, which was disappointing. Brother Su, what evidence are you talking about? Gu Weonian couldn't help but ask. Ever heard of Gentiana? Meng Dongge planted this grass outside Chen Yun's hut. That's the biggest lure for tonight's alien ghost attack. Oh, and the hut Meng Dongge originally selected for us? He planted the same Gentiana there too. What, Gentiana? Where did he get that from? Gu Weonian broke out into a cold sweat. To alien ghosts, Gentiana is like catnip to cats. It emits a scent that alien ghosts love, easily attracting them. However, Gentiana is always rare and seldom found. Many people have heard of it, but only a few have ever seen it. Patting his heart, relieved, Gu Weonian thankfully said, Lucky for us, Brother Su. You made us move houses. Otherwise tonight we probably would have ended up just like Chen Yun. At this point, Gu Weonian completely believed Su Jie's judgment. The tragic situation today was indeed a sinister plot by Meng Dongge. The man appeared upstanding on the surface but harbored ulterior motives in secret, actually setting up such a trap and directly dooming 3 people like Chen Yun. I must say, the opponent really has a good scheme. Just like fishing, Chen Yun and the others were the bait. Not only to attract the alien ghosts but also to consume their strength in advance. Betting on a mutually destructive fight, Meng Dongge would come out to ambush at the end and easily capture an alien ghost with the value of several hundred blood marrow crystals. How utterly maddening. Su Jie sighed, recalling the clean hut from the start. Chen Yun was probably not the first to be trapped this way. Gentiana, if only I had listened to you and moved earlier, none of this would have happened. I hate myself. I hate myself so much. Ko Dang. Chao Xian, it's my fault you died. All my fault. Hearing Su Jie's words, Chen Yun was completely consumed by regret. If only she had heeded the advice, she wouldn't have lost her brother and husband that night. Gu Weonian didn't know how to comfort her and finally let out a long sigh, looking towards Su Jie. Brother Su, what should we do now? Should we present our analysis to the command hall? Do you think that would be useful? This? Probably not. Gu Weonian chuckled wryly. They were from a demon sect, where it was common for lower disciples to kill each other, and even public murder could be let off if enough money was paid for compensation. Outer disciples were just expendables to the high echelons of the sect. One batch could easily be replaced by another, so the higher-ups couldn't care less about such trivial matters. Su Jie spread his hands wide, his tone grave. Now we have no choice. Either kill Meng Dongge and his people or it's our death. As for running away without the command hall's permission, whoever dared to leave the station had better be prepared to be a corpse. How could we possibly be a match for Meng Dongge and his group? Sun Jihai immediately protested, his face filled with fear. The gap in fighting power between them was too great. Not to mention quality, just the number of people in combat was double, and such a fight would be nothing but suicide. Do you have a better option? Su Jie's gaze pierced through him. Sun Jihai's lips moved, but he couldn't articulate a reason. Although they outnumber us, we're not without chances. Withdrawing his gaze, Su Jie glanced at Chen Yun on the ground and said, as the saying goes, fight fire with fire. If Meng Dongge uses Gentiana to set a trap, we can use it against them too. You mean, take out the Gentiana we had near our wooden hut, and place it near where Meng Dongge and his people are staying to attract the alien ghosts to deal with them? Gu Weonian quickly grasped Su Jie's idea, and his eyes suddenly brightened with understanding, because this plan had a good chance of succeeding. The alien ghost is quite useful. If it can't completely eliminate them, we'll go up and finish the job. Su Jie set the tone for the plan and then said to Gu Weonian, you go there tonight. The Gentiana is buried under the roots around our hut. They probably haven't had a chance to take it out yet. Dig it up and bury it near Meng Dongge's hut, and be careful not to get caught. All right, I'll go right now. Gu Weonian quickly agreed, now fully prepared to follow Su Jie through thick and thin. Besides dealing with the threat of Meng Dongge, there was no other choice. Su Jie watched Gu Weonian leave, with moths secretly following him. He wasn't one to easily trust others. If Gu Weonian had any ulterior motives, he would know immediately. Among the outer disciples, none had learned the insect control technique, and they had no defense against ordinary insects, giving Su Jie a significant advantage in surveillance. Mr. Su, let me join in the battle too. I can still be of help. As Gu Weonian left, Chen Yun struggled to hold herself up. Her eyes were unwavering with determination, and her resolve for revenge didn't waver in the slightest despite her injuries. Su Jie took a hard look at Chen Yun and then seemed to think of something, saying, it's not impossible, but you could die. Do you think I'd be afraid of death in my current state? Chen Yun gave a wry smile. Having lost her brother and husband, she preferred to die rather than let Meng Dongge off easy. Fine, I'll help you. Su Jie said no more. Chen Yun's wounds could actually be healed. It was just that she couldn't afford the healing pills needed. Carrying Chen Yun back to the bedroom, Su Jie prepared to perform surgery on her. Without much preparation, Su Jie released the thousand-hand centipede. using the dexterous pale arms of the thousand-hand centipede. He cut off several strands of Chen Yun's hair and used the hair to stitch her wounds. Su Jie had never stitched wounds before. His technique was poor, the stitches ugly and awkward, with some skin not even aligned properly. With no anesthesia, Chen Yun bit down and endured the pain throughout the procedure, her sweat and blood soaking the bed. After the stitching was done, Chen Yun was completely drained, her body covered in centipede-like sewn wounds, including on her face. Su Jie poured some healing medicine on Chen Yun's wounds and gave her a hemostatic elixir to take. "Can you move now?" Su Jie asked. "I'll try." Chen Yun grit her teeth and forced her body up off the bed. It had to be said that the physical resilience of cultivators was much higher than that of normal people. A normal person with such injuries wouldn't think of leaving bed for at least half a year, yet Chen Yun was able to force herself to move slowly. Seeing this, Su Jie shook his head and remarked, "It's still too forced." "No, it's enough. I can still control the poisonous insects. Even if I have to sacrifice my life-bound poisonous insect and my own life, I can manage a few more attacks. Let me join the battle." Yet Chen Yun looked at Su Jie with determination and called over the Ming Shang bat. But now her life-bound poisonous insect was also severely injured, unable even to fly, merely lying weakly in Chen Yun's hand, emitting a faint squeak. Not bad. Su Jie saw Chen Yun in a new light. Her fortitude was indeed commendable. At least she was harsh enough on herself. "When do we leave?" Chen Yun stroked the Ming Shang bat, the deep hatred in her nearly consuming her body. She sought vengeance for her brother and husband. "We still need to wait for the good news from Brother Gu." And Su Jie opened the window and looked toward the east where the dawn's red sky was emerging. He chuckled lightly. "And there's one more hidden danger to clear up. After all that's done, we'll be about ready." After a night of harrowing experiences, the sky gradually brightened, and the sun slowly rose from the horizon. A figure hurried through the woods, glancing back from time to time as if worried about betraying some guilt. Not until he crossed the dense forest did the figure breathe a sigh of relief, and just as he was about to continue on his way, a voice suddenly called out, "Brother Sun, why leave so early in the morning without saying goodbye? I haven't even seen you off yet." Su Jie was leaning against an ancient tree with a smile that was not quite a smile, watching the figure. This person was none other than Sun Jihai, a teammate of Su Jie's. Startled by Su Jie's sudden appearance, Sun Jihai, unsure where he had slipped up, nervously said, "Brother Su, I was just what, wanting to run off to Mengdonga to snitch and then sell us out to earn a place in their team, right?" Su Jie tugged at his sleeve, releasing large swarms of fire blood bees and silver-winged golden-line cicadas that buzzed into flight. Seeing Su Jie's serious move, Sun Jihai's face changed dramatically, realizing he had been found out, and cursed, "Are you an idiot? We have so few people, even if we bring in the alien ghost, we'll still have to fight it out with Mengdonga's remaining forces. With one old and one disabled, relying on just you, how can we defeat them? My approach is the wise one. What's wrong with wanting to live? You're not wrong. The problem is you're too weak." Su Jie waved his hand majestically, and the fire blood bees in the sky lifted their tails, sending streaks of fire raining down. Sun Jihai reached into his chest and pulled out a golden vortex talisman to use. The air wavered slightly, and the incoming streaks of fire were deflected to either side, burning 2 narrow strips of white earth over 10 meters long. Following the fire streaks were several silver-winged golden-line cicadas flying at subsonic speeds. These small insects dealt physical attacks and couldn't be deflected. At the critical moment, a green lizard crawled out from Sun Jihai's chest, spraying a stream of dark green poison smoke, which was his life-bound poisonous insect. Regrettably, this poison smoke was useless against the silver-winged golden-line cicadas. Several streaks of gold and silver light easily skirted the poison smoke in front and slashed through from behind, puncturing holes the size of ping-pong balls through Sun Jihai's shoulder, chest, and thigh, clean through to the other side. Sun Jihai fell to the ground screaming, looking at Su Jie incredulously. You're only at the 3rd level of the Yunling realm like me. How can you control so many poisonous insects? Su Jie, receiving a boost from the spiritual power of the Thousand-Hand Centipede, had more robust spiritual power than the average disciple and could control a greater number of poisonous insects. I told you you're too weak. You often nourish your life poisonous insect with blood, leaving your own spiritual power severely lacking. Aside from your life poisonous insect, you haven't cultivated any other insects at all, not even qualifying as a Gu master. Su Jie shook his head, stepped forward to check the items on Sun Jihai but regretfully found nothing valuable. He was much poorer than Su Jie. That golden vortex talisman was probably his entire fortune. Tisk, you're so poor. The only thing of value was the golden vortex talisman you used, leaving only enough to give my Xiao Qian an extra meal. With a sigh, Su Jie reluctantly withdrew, throwing the green lizard on the ground to the thousand-handed centipede for its enjoyment. The centipede, which hadn't exerted itself just moments before, now voraciously ate the other's poisonous insect. The centipede's shell was shiny and black. It was already feasting greatly on Blue Star and on the brink of upgrading. Today, fed with numerous insects by Su Jie, it was clear that the time for its second spiritual refining upgrade was in the next few days. As his life-bound poisonous insect was eaten and their lifeblood connections severed, Sun Jihai's inner spiritual power became chaotic and collapsed. His eyes filled with terror, and he couldn't stop begging for mercy while vomiting blood. Brother Su, I'm willing to join you against Meng Dongge. I know I was wrong, truly I do. Sorry, you are no longer of any value. Su Jie stood up, his palm pressing down slightly. Dozens of fire blood bees came flapping their wings, and amidst Sun Jihai's desperate screams, streaks of fire engulfed him, lighting him up into a human torch. Minutes later, only a charred corpse remained on the scene. The wind blew, scattering the burned remnants up into the air, spreading them far and wide, and quickly no trace was left. Oh! At the North Peak wooden house, Su Jie pushed the door and entered. Gu Weonian had already returned, and upon seeing him, said, Brother Su, the deed is done. I used the excuse of seeking advice on how to counter the alien ghost to plant the Gentiana around Meng Dongge and their wooden houses. Good, what we need now is time, waiting for the arrival of the alien ghost. Let's hope our luck isn't too bad. Su Jie nodded slightly. He had known about Gu Weonian's actions since the moths he used for surveillance were always watching. Is everything taken care of? Chen Yun, who was sitting to the side, asked with difficulty, clearly enduring the pain in her body. It's been handled. The last of the dangers has been eliminated. That's good. Now we have no reservations left. Gu Weonian listened to the exchange between Su Jie and Chen Yun with a puzzled face. It took him a long while to ask, Brother Sun, why is there no sign of Brother Sun? Su Jie smiled and said, You're talking about Brother Sun? Right now, he should be personally fertilizing the wild grasses. Brother Gu, if you want to find him, I can take you there. You might even find a trace of him. No need. Gu Weonian's voice trembled, and he had already understood the situation. Su Jie patted Gu Weonian on the shoulder and said, Some people aren't with us, and instead think of stabbing their brothers in the back. Then they can only be asked to die first. Brother Gu, no need to be nervous. I would never be so ruthless and heartless with true comrades. Of course, I'm one of us. I did everything you told me to the letter. Gu Weonian felt uneasy, and sweat dripped down his temples. He couldn't believe that Su Jie, who appeared harmless, was actually the most ruthless of them all. His methods against enemies were one thing, but the way he dealt with his own people was just as decisive, surpassing Gu's imagination. It seems that Brother Gu has misunderstood me. Never mind that, Brother Gu, just remember one thing. I, Su Jie, am a good person. Su Jie emphasized this point as if it were of great importance. Although he killed people, set fires, and destroyed corpses, he still considered himself a good person. Gu Weonian, he had never seen a good person, quite like Su Jie, and was at a loss for words for the moment. He had even doubted whether Su Jie was a qualified demon cultivator. but now it seemed there was no one more suited to the role than him. I believe you, you're an absolutely good person. Chen Yun, who was sitting aside, nodded seriously, affirming Su Jie's words with solemn certainty. For Chen Yun, Su Jie was willing to avenge her, and that made him a good person. Whether the means were extreme or not, it didn't matter. In the next few days, Brother Gu, you're responsible for patrolling around our station. Chen Yun, you should just recuperate and try to regain some combat strength. I'll keep a close watch over Meng Dong's side, and I'll immediately notify you both if there's any stir. After the jokes, Su Jie conveyed the final arrangements. Everything was ready. Now all that was missing was the east wind. It all depended on whether the alien ghost would give them the courtesy of showing up. Night. The silvery moonlight bathed the earth, and besides a few insect chirps, the forest was silent. Drip. Suddenly, a sound so faint it was almost undetectable reached the ear. A creature with a terrifying form hunched its body, stealthily prowling through the night. With the appearance of this creature, a sinister aura began to spread through the nocturnal forest. It was an alien ghost, a robust and muscular one, over 3 meters tall. Its nostrils flared slightly as if catching a whiff of something special. It became incredibly excited and ran swiftly toward the south side of Niujiao Ridge, its heavy body hitting the ground nearly silently. After covering several thousand meters, the alien ghost raised its head, its crimson gaze confirming something through the darkness. A few hundred meters away stood a wooden house, its faint light barely piercing the gloom. The alien ghost slowly opened its mouth, scenting the air for the living. Its primal hunting instinct, encoded in its genetics, activated. It crouched lower, approaching the wooden house in a bizarre posture. Atop the roof of the wooden house, a Ghost Ridge Palace disciple was on lookout duty, one of Meng Dong's followers. The night wind blew, prompting a yawn. He tightened his clothes around him, cursing under his breath. Damn this ghostly weather. Not even winter yet and it's already this cold. The disciple failed to notice that as he complained, a grotesque and eerie alien ghost had silently climbed up the exterior wall of the wooden house and was now behind him. Its huge mouth, split to the ear, opened wide, each sharp tooth like a small dagger, drool dripping steadily. The disciple touched his head and grumbled to himself, "Is it raining? Just my luck." But the next moment, as he instinctively looked up, all he saw was a gaping maw swiftly closing in on him. With a single bite, the disciple's head vanished, chewed up and swallowed by the alien ghost. The headless corpse spurted blood meters into the air, like a blood-red firework blooming in the night, adding another layer of horror to the already terrifying scene. The smell of fresh blood was distinct. Within the wooden house, some sleeping disciples were sensitive to blood because of their poisonous insects, which were already alerting their hosts. There's a disturbance. Such a strong scent of blood. Not good. Something's happened. Voices of alarm rose from within the wooden house as lamps were lit, weapons in hand, and Meng Dong, accompanied by 4 Ghost Ridge Palace disciples, rushed out. No sooner had they exited the wooden house than a massive figure leaped down from the rooftop. It's the alien ghost. The disciples were utterly terrified, their cries of fright piercing the sky. Meng Dong's face darkened, and he clenched his teeth. "Don't be afraid. There are 5 of us, enough to kill this beast." A few Ghost Ridge Palace disciples called forth swarms of poisonous insects, knowing they had no choice but to face the threat head-on. Attack! With a loud shout, Meng Dong knew the night would likely not end well. This wasn't like the previous times, setting ambushes for alien ghosts. The one in their presence was in peak condition. Clashing head-on, who knew how many would perish? Meng Dong was irritated by his bad luck tonight, having actually encountered a roaming alien ghost. From beginning to end, Meng Dong had never imagined that the alien ghost had been lured there by someone. At the southern foot of Niujiao Ridge, with the treetops swaying slightly in the night breeze, Su Jie sat cross-legged among them, watching the flames and explosions light up from the distant wooden house, listening to the furious roars of the alien ghost, the wails of humans in their last moments before death, and clicked his tongue. Impressive. Even fire-poison cockroaches self-detonate. It's an all-in fighting style. Standing under the tree, Gu Weonian rubbed his arms, which were prickling with nervous goosebumps, and couldn't help but ask, "Brother Su, when do we make our move? Don't rush with an alien ghost. I believe Meng Dongge and his team can handle it. It's not yet time for both sides to suffer." Su Jie was in no hurry at all, letting the alien ghost wear itself out a little more. Good riddance. Let them taste what it's like to be slaughtered by an alien ghost. Compared to Gu Weonian's anxiousness, Chun Yun was exceptionally excited, her face bearing a crazed smile that never ceased. The battle was longer than imagined. Almost 20 minutes passed before the distant conflict finally ceased, returning to tranquility. It's our turn to enter the scene. Su Jie jumped down from the treetops, unhurriedly leading Gu Weonian and the other person forward. Merely 700 or 800 meters ahead, the burning wooden house, fallen bodies, and countless dead insects were scattered everywhere. What was once a team of 6 from Meng Dongge, now only 4 remained, and they all bore injuries. One disciple was critically injured. His lower body was severed at the waist, blood and entrails flowing freely, his upper body still struggling and crawling on the ground, not yet having succumbed. This disciple also knew his fate was sealed, casting a pleading look towards Meng Dongge. "End his suffering quickly." Meng Dongge shook his head, about to put an end to the disciple's agony, when he suddenly heard abnormal sounds and abruptly turned his head shouting, "Who's over there?" Rustling, crawling sounds emerged from the forest. Several pale corpse hands wriggled out of the darkness, their bases raised high, fingers spread to crawl like spiders, entering Meng Dongge's field of view. The half-severed disciple was closest and was immediately caught by several pale corpse hands that twisted his head around, rotating it a full 360 degrees on the spot. The sound of breaking bones was particularly distinct in the dark and silent surroundings, bringing an end to his suffering. Enemy attack. Meng Dongge's expression turned vigilant, and using the moonlight that pierced the dark sky, he witnessed a hair-raising scene. Su Jie, Gu Weonian, and Chen Yun emerged from the darkness, surrounding them in an encircling manner. "Mr. Meng, we came here to kill you. No need to be nervous." Su Jie wore a friendly smile as several pale corpse hands moved swiftly, climbing up his trouser leg, eventually disappearing into the wide sleeves of his robe. "Mr. Su, what is the meaning of this? What have I done to offend you to warrant such a ruthless attack?" Meng Dongge's eyes were filled with confusion and bewilderment, seemingly completely unaware of any grievance. "Stop pretending, Meng Dongge. You caused the death of my brother and husband, and today I demand that you go down and accompany them." Chan Yun stared at Meng Dongge with an intense venomous hatred, her disheveled hair wild and with a hideous scar stitched across her face, like a terrifying female ghost clawing her way back from hell. "The one who killed your brother and husband was the alien ghost. What does that have to do with us? I even tried to save you yesterday." Meng Dongge hastily defended himself, unwilling to admit to the accusations, and even called out to Gu Weonian, "Mr. Gu, don't you believe me either?" Gu Weonian's eyes held a complex look as he said, "Miss Meng, we have already discovered something about the Gentiana. The reason you encountered the alien ghost tonight is that I buried the Gentiana near your location." Upon hearing this, Meng Dongge fell silent for several seconds. Then his expression calmed down as he countered, "When did you find out?" Meng Dongge no longer feigned innocence, for his secrets had been laid bare. Continuing the charade was pointless. "You don't need to know that." Su Jie's gaze drifted to the ground below, suddenly propelling himself into a leap with one push of his legs. Across from him, Meng Dongge did the same, his body rapidly retreating several steps backwards. Just as Su Jie was jumping, 7 or 8 earthworms as thick as arms burst from the soil beneath, their round razor-sharp mouths snapping at the air. While in front of Su Jie, the spot where Meng Dongge had stood was engulfed by a swath of fiery lines. The Fire Blood Bees commanded by Su Jie launched a stealth attack from hiding, the flames burning fiercely and illuminating the dark night sky. Despicable. Meng Donga's face, under the glow of the firelight, was exceptionally grim. "You're no better." Su Jie sneered coldly. The two had the same idea, trying to engage in talk to delay and turn the tables on their opponents. "Brother Gu." Seeing that the sneak attack was unsuccessful, Su Jie gave a signal with his eyes. Gurgle, gurgle. Gu Weonian knew that battle was inevitable, his stomach swelling violently as strange noises emanated from it. Then, opening his mouth, a swarm of black mosquitoes flew out through his gullet. Like dense steel needles they whooshed toward the three people opposite Meng Donga, breaking branches and shattering bark as they flew. Meng Donga flung out a low-grade basic talisman, erecting a reddish spiritual power net that intercepted the black mosquito attack. But the two disciples accompanying him weren't so lucky. As they tried to dodge, standing by Su Jie's side, Chun Yun also made her move, the Ming Shang bat emitting a piercing screech. A subsonic wave swept over them, striking their internal organs like a tsunami, immediately causing them to vomit blood. Their movements slowed a beat, and half their bodies were pierced like a wasp's nest. But the real killing move was several silver-winged golden-lined cicadas slicing down through the air, piercing through the two disciples' skulls in an instant, killing them before they could even summon their poisonous insects. This coordinated attack by the trio of Su Jie was specially practiced, and it seemed very effective now. Of course, if they hadn't been previously fighting with the alien ghost, exhausting so much of their energy and their poisonous insects, it wouldn't have been so easy to succeed. "I don't have enough spiritual power left. I need to rest for a while." Panting heavily, the elderly Gu Weonian lacked spiritual power. Having launched such a forceful attack, he now found it difficult to continue. Chen Yun was in an even worse state, already heavily injured. She forced her body to command her life-bound poisonous insect, causing it to lose half its life right then and there. She herself collapsed to the ground. Many wounds on her body split open again, blood seeping through her clothes. "I'm going to kill you all. Fire poison cockroaches." Upon witnessing the demise of his last two teammates, Meng Donga first paused in shock before exploding in rage, his face contorted with hatred, as if wishing to tear Su Jie and his team limb from limb. Countless cockroaches emerged from the legs of his pants. The tails of these cockroaches shone like fireflies, a ghastly green light flickering as they immediately took to the skies and swooped down. Boom, boom, boom. Upon getting close, the fire-poison cockroaches self-detonated in midair, emitting a corrosive liquid that left pits and potholes in the rocks and trees, its power undeniable. Su Jie had to employ a golden vortex talisman to protect himself, its shimmering golden light deflecting the corrosive liquid. The older Gu Weonian found it difficult to dodge in time, his lower leg getting corroded, flesh dissolving significantly to reveal pale, terrifying bones while he screamed in agony. Chen Yun, standing by Su Jie, thankfully wasn't affected by the explosions. "He's going all out." Locking her gaze on Meng Donga, just as Chen Yun thought he would fight to the death, preparing to control the Ming Shang bat to deliver a death strike. She saw Meng Donga not looking back, using the delay caused by the fire-poison cockroach's self-detonation to escape towards the dense forest. "I already figured someone like you wouldn't fight to the death." Su Jie followed unhurriedly, with his insect control technique for reconnaissance. He wasn't worried about Meng Donga getting away at all. He actually hoped Meng Donga would keep running. With the injuries and blood loss he was sustaining, just continuing to run could be fatal. The chase continued, with Gu Weonian and Chun Yun quickly left behind. In the midst of pursuit, half an hour vanished in the blink of an eye. Meng Donga, looking wretched from his escape, suddenly stopped. Su Jie approached with measured steps, and with a lifted eyebrow asked, "Why have you stopped running? I didn't expect you to actually dare to chase after me alone." You thought I was fleeing." A cruel smile spread across Meng Donga's face, and out of his sleeve crawled a gray mantis that visibly swelled, growing to the size of a person. Its forelimbs glinted with a cold light, looking like sickles. "Iron-eating scythe mantis, a low-grade poisonous insect, and also my life-bound poisonous insect. Today I'll show you the gap in our strengths." Even wounded, I can still effortlessly slaughter riffraff like you. No sooner had Meng Donga's words fallen than the giant iron-eating scythe mantis let out a violent shriek, gliding with a flap of its wings, and its sickle-like forelimbs slashed towards Su Jie. On their path, ancient trees touched by the forelimbs were cut in half at their trunks, showcasing extreme sharpness. Boom! In the next moment, a ripple surged around Su Jie's waist. The terrifying body of the thousand-handed centipede slithered forth. The sickle blades came down and severed several of the corpse hands. Enraged, the thousand-handed centipede swiftly coiled around the assailant like a giant python, immediately entwining the iron-eating scythe mantis. Filled with terror, the mantis tried to escape, but an onslaught of corpse hands churned and pushed, swiftly wrapping the iron-eating scythe mantis into a corpse handball, layer upon layer of corpse hands concealing it until not even a glimpse of the mantis could be seen. Low-grade 1 refining poisonous insect, impossible, absolutely impossible. How could an outer disciple like you possess such a poisonous insect? Meng Donga's eyes nearly bulged out of their sockets as he incredulously watched the scene before him. This was a low-grade 1 refining poisonous insect. Even as a 5th level of Yunling Realm disciple, it took him the strength of 9 oxen and 2 tigers, along with a bit of luck, to barely cultivate a low-grade poisonous insect. As for further refining a low-grade poisonous insect through spirit refining to catalyze its abnormal development, he dared not even consider it. How many resources would that require? Only inner disciples could afford such an expense. And yet, he now saw that Su Jie, who was clearly only at the 3rd level of Yunling Realm, possessed a low-grade 1 refining poisonous insect. This completely surpassed his understanding. How could a mere outer disciple have so many resources to cultivate? People are not all the same, just as you thought you could defeat us one by one. Isn't it also intentional on my part? I certainly don't want my life-bound poisonous insect to be seen by others. With a light chuckle, Su Jie expressed that combat between Gu masters is all about the poisonous insects. There is not much fanfare of magic colliding or magic artifacts and flying swords clashing. Even if Su Jie's cultivation was lower than Meng Donga's, the thousand-handed centipede was enough to easily close the gap. Impossible, how could I lose? How could I die here? I haven't become an inner disciple yet. I can't die. Meng Donga roared in frenzy. His only trump card, the iron-eating scythe mantis, was utterly countered. He didn't bring the poisonous earthworm this time, and the fire-poison cockroaches had self-destructed and been used up. Having used up his talismans and left with no other means, he actually charged forward, using his fists to attack, a Gu master being forced into hand-to-hand combat. He who kills must be prepared to be killed. No one is invincible. Su Jie had no intention of engaging in close combat. Although he had specifically learned the Tiger Roar Fist, it was only a superficial understanding, and close combat involved too many uncertainties. In the face of Meng Donga's madness, Su Jie merely hooked his finger slightly. The silver-winged golden-lined cicada darted forward, piercing his legs and causing him to fall to the ground, unable to get back up. At the same time, the battle between the thousand-handed centipede and its opponent also concluded. The iron-eating scythe mantis, a species fond of consuming metal, had a body hardness 3 times greater than steel after ascending to low grade. But all of this was insignificant before the thousand-handed centipede. Corpse hands continually pressed inward, trapping the iron-eating scythe mantis and inhibiting its movements. When the pressure reached its limit, the body of the iron-eating scythe mantis instantly cracked under the strain and was torn apart by dozens and hundreds of corpse hands, with its muscles, viscera, and carapace all reduced to a pile of minced meat. Puffed. As his life-bound poisonous insect was destroyed, Meng Donga's aura withered, and he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The thousand-handed centipede swiftly crawled over, and in the midst of Meng Donga's unwilling gaze, bit into his neck and snapped it. At last, carrying his head, the thousand-handed centipede returned to Su Jie's side. "Good girl, go ahead and eat." Su Jie patted the thousand-handed centipede on the head, letting it enjoy the iron-eating scythe mantis. Searching the body, Su Jie found 50 blood marrow crystals on Meng Donga, nothing else of note. Meng Dongge had used up all the resources he could during the fight and left nothing for Su Jie. Fortunately, the 50 blood marrow crystals were enough to satisfy Su Jie. After the 1,000-handed centipede finished off the iron-eating scythe mantis, Su Jie burned the headless corpse and left with Meng Dongge's head in hand. In front of the wooden hut, Gu Weonian and Chen Yun listened for footsteps coming from the darkness and hastily looked around in alert. Su Jie had gone chasing for a long while without return, and both were afraid of an accident occurring. However, their physical conditions didn't allow them to keep up with Su Jie's pace. Now, they feared that Meng Dongge might not be dead and could come back for revenge. The footsteps grew closer, and before long, a figure appeared before them. As though granted a pardon, Gu Weonian breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Brother Su, are you all right? Did you catch up to Meng Dongge?" "Here." Su Jie casually tossed a dark object towards Chen Yun. Chen Yun instinctively caught it, and upon seeing it clearly, her tears could no longer be held back. For it was indeed Meng Dongge's head. Her brother and husband's vengeance was fulfilled. Sob sob, Kodang, Chao Xian, do you see this? Meng Dongge is dead. I have avenged you both. After a burst of crying and releasing all her emotions, Chen Yun suddenly knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times to Su Jie. "Mr. Su, my life from now on is yours. Whenever you need me, I, Chen Yun, will be there, even at the cost of my own life. There's no need for so many words. When I need help, I will certainly not be polite." Su Jie did not decline but nodded and accepted the offer. Afterwards, the 3 of them cleaned up the battlefield. The gains weren't much apart from the scene of the battle. Besides the scattered insect corpses and some still-live captured poison insects, there were 2 corpses of alien ghosts, their combined worth exceeding 1,000 blood marrow crystals, an overnight fortune. Following the principle of distribution according to contribution, and according to the rules previously agreed upon, Su Jie could claim 80% of these spoils of war, while Chen Yun and Gu Weonian would share the remaining 20%. After all, it was Su Jie who personally dealt with the strongest and most troublesome Meng Dongge. No one else had the capability. With the spoils of war harvested, the remnants of battle were meticulously wiped clean, and then the corpses of all disciples were incinerated, leaving no evidence of their deaths. Brother Gu, regarding tonight's events, I will write a detailed report to the command hall. Meng Dongge and others bravely sacrificed themselves in the battle against the alien ghosts. As we are now short-handed and have many injured, we're unable to maintain our guard duty and request to be temporarily withdrawn back to the sect for recuperation. With a keen gaze, Su Jie looked at Gu Weonian, aligning their stories. I understand, Brother Su. I won't let a single word slip from my side. Gu Weonian hurriedly nodded, indicating he got the message. Fine, let's head back then. Satisfied, Su Jie nodded and, taking the 2 alien ghost corpses, returned to their own wooden hut. The battle that night was the most intense Su Jie had experienced since his transmigration, and it was also a supremely thrilling victory. After selling the 2 alien ghost corpses, Su Jie's wealth could easily increase more than tenfold. The command letter was sent to the command hall via Messenger Crow, and for the following week, Su Jie and the others continued their stationing duties. However, on the 7th day, Su Jie used cultivation as an excuse to return to Blue Star from Tianyuan World. It was because the 1,000-handed centipede had reached the critical moment of its second spiritual refining, and advancing in the Blue Star world was much safer. Blue Star, Linping City, Yaogang Scorpion Breeding Farm. Su Jie, accompanied by Chen Yaoguang, inspected the breeding farm after its expansion. In one of the newly established 3 stocking yards, one was packed with cobras, forming a dense mass of snake nests and balls. Another yard was filled with a large number of red-headed centipedes, with pairs of red thoracic legs crawling on the ground, inducing agoraphobia in anyone. Yet another yard was stacked with large and small glass cages, all containing different types of spiders, such as bird-catching spiders, pleasing golden spiders, burrowing wolf spiders, and Chinese wolf spiders. Because spiders have a habit of preying on their kind, they must be raised separately. Mr. Su, These are poison insects that were recently purchased from breeding farms in other regions, including a variety of poisonous snakes, centipedes, and spiders, costing about 3 million yuan in funds, Chen Yaoguang said, pointing to the stocking yards, all purchases of his effort. Don't be afraid to spend money. Keep purchasing. Su Jie looked around and saw that there was enough to easily satisfy the thousand-handed centipede's advancement needs. Smiling, he patted Chen Yaoguang on the shoulder. You must have been running around in other places for these poison insects. Quite the effort. I've arranged a 5-star hotel banquet for you all. Take the employees and have a good rest for 2 days. In addition, the wages of all employees will be doubled this month. Chen Yaoguang's eyes widened. What? Really double the wages? I don't like making empty promises like other bosses do. When I say double, it means double. All right, Mr. Su. I can't thank you enough on behalf of the employees. Chen Yaoguang couldn't stop smiling as he repeatedly thanked Su Jie and turned to notify the other employees. In a short while, the cheers of the employees rose and fell one after another in the breeding farm. Su Jie was an unusually generous boss. After Chen Yaoguang took the employees away, the entire breeding farm was left with just Su Jie, along with a few guard dogs. Su Jie calmly released the thousand-handed centipede. Woof woof. Whimper. The dogs were terrified by the sight, tucking their tails and shaking in their kennels. The menacing body of the thousand-handed centipede stretched out and crawled into the cobra stocking yard. These cobras were bred for the extraction of their venom. Their fangs and venom glands were still intact. The thousand-handed centipede was clearly interested in them, grabbing several cobras and stuffing them into its mouth to chew and swallow. Hiss! The cobras became restless, and some with fiercer temperaments even tried to bite into the thousand-handed centipede with their venomous fangs. But to no avail, as they couldn't even pierce its insect shell, let alone inject poison. Moreover, the neurotoxin of these cobras was insubstantial to the thousand-handed centipede. It was as if it were merely an itch. The thousand-handed centipede ignored them completely, treating these terrifying poisonous snakes for humans as delicious snacks, akin to spicy strips. After consuming over 100 snakes, the thousand-handed centipede slowed its feasting. Its body coiled into a ball. Its insect shell transformed into a semi-transparent cocoon, through which a dark shadow could be seen slowly squirming and struggling within. The entire ascension lasted a full 3 hours. When the accumulated nurturing power reached its peak, a new tender body cracked the insect cocoon and bit by bit, burrowed out of the old shell. The newly transformed thousand-hand centipede grew over 6 meters in length, towering over a 1-story house when half erect, with a fierce and intimidating aura that unabashedly spread out, silencing the insects and snakes in the breeding farm. In addition, the new outer shell of the thousand-hand centipede was a light purple color, full of a mysterious luster, becoming harder and harder. It was unclear whether this was due to it having eaten the iron-eating scythe mantis, but when the insect shell was struck, it felt as though one was hitting a steel plate with astonishing hardness. Although its size had increased significantly, the thousand-hand centipede moved swiftly, even more agile and quick than before. All of this was thanks to the increase in the number of pale corpse hands below its abdomen. Now there were hundreds of those hands, working in unison to propel it forward at an astonishing speed. Second spiritual refining succeeded. Su Jie couldn't stop the smile forming at the corners of his mouth. The thousand-hand centipede was now a low-grade second refinement poisonous insect. Su Jie might not be clear about the situation with inner disciples, but he knew that among the outer disciples, he definitely had the highest quality life-bound poisonous insect. While other outer disciples were still struggling over a low-grade poisonous insect, he had already cultivated his thousand-hand centipede to the level of low-grade second refinement. Sizzle! The thousand-hand centipede emitted an excited sound. The reborn creature stretched its body and then suddenly swelled up, bursting apart noisily. The enormous body transformed into tens of thousands of little centipedes to form a small insect sea that surged forward like waves, frantically tearing and devouring every living creature in sight, leaving nothing but bones of the snakes bred on the farm. In the blink of an eye, the numerous small centipedes reassembled themselves, their flesh merging back into the 6-meter-long original body. This was the ability mastered by the Thousand-Hand Centipede after the second spiritual refining, division, and super self-healing. Division was what Su Jie had just witnessed, while super self-healing meant that during battle, even if thousands of the little centipedes were killed, as long as the one housing the soul was not caught, the Thousand-Hand Centipede could survive. It would then rapidly feed to restore its original size afterward. After demonstrating its new abilities, the Thousand-Hand Centipede crawled back to Su Jie's side, seeking as in the past to lie on him and return nourishment for cultivation. "Are you trying to crush me? You're so big and still want me to hold you." Su Jie slapped the centipede's head unhappily, causing it to make sizzling noises, and it looked at Su Jie with its large, aggrieved eyes. In such a ferocious beast, Su Jie actually saw an emotion of grievance, like that of a pitiful little thing abandoned by its parents. "Coordinate with me by circulating your spiritual power. I'll shrink your size first." Su Jie scratched the underchin of the Thousand-Hand Centipede, then placed both hands on its head, linking his inner spiritual power with the centipede. To the naked eye, the Thousand-Hand Centipede's size was visibly reduced until it became just as long as an arm. This was one of the magic skills from the 100 Poison Refining Gu scripture, allowing control over the size of the poisonous insect. Of course, this form was only suitable for carrying around. During combat, it would still need to revert to its original size. The Thousand-Hand Centipede comfortably lay on Su Jie's waist and began to feed back the immense spiritual power and vital essence it had acquired from its second spiritual refining. This spiritual power was extremely refined by the centipede and, being from a life-bound poisonous insect with which he shared a bond, had no rejection issues. Under this nourishment, Su Jie's cultivation rose like riding a train, climbing steadily, and in just 10 minutes, he broke through to the 4th level of Yunling realm. If told to others, they might not believe it. In just less than a month, Su Jie had advanced from the 2nd level of Yunling realm to his current 4th level. Even inner disciples did not have such a speed of cultivation. Even Su Jie felt that in less than a month, with the help of the low-grade 2nd refinement Thousand-Hand Centipede, he could ascend once more to the 5th level of Yunling realm. An hour of cultivation had come to an end, and Su Jie slowly opened his eyes, the orbs glowing brilliantly, an almost tangible manifestation of his spiritual power. He swung his arms gently and walked over to his BMW M8. Crouching down, he exerted himself to lift the car. A scene that would astonish any Blue Star human unfolded. The 1.9-ton car was hoisted above Su Jie's head with his bare hands. The quality of spiritual power from this reverse nourishment is quite high. Su Jie let out a long breath, extremely satisfied with the gains from his recent advancement. Beyond the changes in his body and spiritual power, Su Jie looked down at his own body. Then, with his right hand shaped like a blade, he fiercely chopped down on his left arm. Amidst the sound of breaking bones, Su Jie's left arm was viciously torn off at the shoulder, with his fingers shaped like eagle claws. Without the agony he'd imagined, at the severed shoulder stump, buds of flesh began to grow wildly outwards. Within a minute, a brand new arm had regrown. The detached arm that Su Jie had thrown to the ground, as if possessing a will of its own, struggled unconsciously, its flesh eerily writhing, its arm resembling a vigorous poison insect refusing to die. The division and super self-healing traits of the Thousand-Hand Centipede were manifesting in Su Jie. The body parts separated bore the influence of Su Jie's will, allowing them to act like living things. Of course, if left unattended, the severed arm would soon die completely, for creating life was not something he could do at his current level. Su Jie bent down to pick up the severed arm, placed it against his left shoulder, and the arm immediately sprouted buds of flesh, beginning to merge and adhere to the newly grown arm, quickly integrating completely, leaving no trace. Now, even with a pierced heart, I should be able to survive, mere mortal wounds. Su Jie thought to himself that if his cultivation kept improving, one day he could even manage to resurrect from a drop of blood. After completing his cultivation, Su Jie let the Thousand-Hand Centipede feed abundantly in the rearing field, then cleaned up any traces and left the breeding farm, driving back to Jingjiang No. 1 Villa. "Su Jie, you're back." As soon as he returned to the villa, Lu Yingying, dressed in a hip-hugging skirt uniform, brightened up and hurried over to greet him. How did things go while I was away? Su Jie sat on the sofa, legs crossed, sipping the fragrant tea the housekeeper had brought him. Lu Yingying approached proactively, her delicate hands gently massaging Su Jie's shoulders, a hint of pride in her voice. I just got back from Hong Kong Island yesterday. I've straightened out the few companies you had before, and I've also registered 3 new shell companies. They are back-channeled to the Cayman Islands. I've also cleared the checkpoints from Countryshan in Southeast Asia, successfully registering several cross-holding raw material companies, which makes our business even more legitimate. So capable? Seems I made the right choice making you my secretary. Well, I did study finance after all. These moves are no big deal. No difficulties encountered? None. Money paves the way through anything. It works wonders. Especially in Chan country, from customs to the forestry department and others all the way up, they are blatantly taking bribes. Any document or procedure can be sorted out for you, as long as the price is right. Lu Yingying went back to her room and brought out a stack of documents, placing them in front of Su Jie. Su Jie picked them up and saw things like Fuju Trading Company, Ltd, Jinda D Wood Import Company, Jie Xian Furniture, followed by some paperwork. There were a series of related timber import and export documents including Chan country's logging permits, fumigation certificates, plant inspection certificates, endangered species certificates, and the bill of lading. With these legal certificates from Chan country, the origin wood could pass through customs using legitimate procedures, allowing the shell companies to operate smoothly, importing from Chan country to Hua country, and finally landing in the hands of Tianyuan Home Furnishing Company. The reason Su Jie had taken such measures was that the mountains near Ghost Ridge Palace in the Tianyuan world had suffered from his actions. The small-leaf rosewood had been overharvested and was increasingly hard to find. In desperation, Su Jie planned to harvest other precious woods, like golden nan wood, yellow pear wood, and golden camphor. However, his previous low-profile activity under the guise of a family legacy no longer suited these operations. Those woods had to go through legal channels for domestic trading, especially now that he had established Tianyuan Home Furnishing Company. It was implausible for a company to only sell furniture made from one type of wood, so enriching the product line was necessary. Thus, this deceiving mechanism came into being, laundering the cherished wood of the Tianyuan family onto the market. For this, Su Jie planned to take a trip to Chan country when time permitted, not just to prepare with raw materials, but also to verify an even crazier idea in Chan country. As Su Jie was looking through these documents, Liang Lianjuan, who had received news, hurried into the villa. Mr. Su, I'm sorry for my late arrival. Have a seat. Su Jie gestured for Liang Lianjuan to sit down before asking, Did you manage to buy the factory? We've secured the purchase, but... Liang Lianjuan hesitated, looking somewhat embarrassed. It's just that, with the incident involving Lang Baihe, Chairman Chui's children are fiercely contesting the inheritance, scrambling to liquidate Lang Baihe's assets. I've managed to buy a wood processing factory and some talent from the design department formerly under Lang Baihe, setting up the framework for Tianyuan Home Furnishing Company. Su Jie laughed heartily and said, What's wrong with that? Poaching the corner of our old employer is only smart if the opportunity presents itself. I certainly won't mind such a thing. As long as you can get the factory up and running as quickly as possible, that's all that matters. I have to say, this Liang Lianjuan is quite talented. So Tianyuan Home can operate normally now, can't it? Yes, Mr. Su. Now that the processing plant has all the necessary equipment and workers, we just need the raw wood to start making furniture. Getting the wood isn't an issue. Look here, I've even prepared various lists and data for you. Just place an order with Jinda D Company on behalf of Tianyuan Home, and the wood can be shipped from Chan country. Su Jie said with a smile as he handed over a stack of documents. Liang Lianjuan saw all the import and export documents for various types of wood on it, and a smile immediately appeared on his face. After taking a sip of tea, Su Jie continued, I've got the wood ready for you, but as for the actual sales, I won't get involved. That will depend on your ability. Don't worry, Mr. Su. There's no shortage of buyers for these high-end and rare furniture pieces. The only thing we lack is sufficient supply. Our market competitiveness is too strong. Selling them is not a problem at all. Liang Lianjuan patted his chest confidently, believing that even as a new brand, Tianyuan Furniture could rise to prominence with its variety of high-end wood materials. That's best. After chatting for a while longer, Liang Lianjuan noticed Lu Yingying's glances drifting towards him every now and then. Understanding the implication, he timely suggested taking his leave. Su Jie, you're not going out tonight, are you? Once Liang Lianjuan left, Lu Yingying sat next to Su Jie, swinging her arm and exhaling a fragrant breath, her eyes enchantingly alluring. I still have things to deal with on my end. But Lu Yingying had just shown a look of disappointment when Su Jie's tone changed, and he continued, we still have a bit of time, seeing as you've been running around so tirelessly both at home and abroad recently. As your boss, I should reward you properly and loosen those stiff muscles for you. With his words barely finished and amidst Lu Yingying's shrieks, Su Jie scooped her up in his arms and carried her towards the bedroom. After a bout of passion, a spent Lu Yingying lay in bed, watching Su Jie, who had redressed tidily, her tone full of reluctance. Can't you stay a few more days? I don't want you to leave. Her voice was soft and coquettish like a kitten's purr. If initially Lu Yingying was with Su Jie for money, then after these days of being together, especially with the work Su Jie had arranged for her that allowed her financial expertise to shine, she was incredibly happy with the sense of fulfillment. She became more and more dependent on and infatuated with Su Jie. You little glutton, I'll be heading to Chan country in a few days, and I'll have you accompany me. Then you won't have to worry about not having enough time together. He flicked Lu Yingying's forehead and walked out of the bedroom amidst her cries of ouch, then went to a secluded place to open the ancient mirror and return to the Tianyuan world. Tianyuan world, Niujiao Ridge. Su Jie had just returned when he heard some good news. In the wooden cabin, Gu Weonian, holding a letter, said excitedly, Brother Su, we've received a letter from the command hall. It permits us to return to the sect to rest. Other disciples will come to guard Niujiao Ridge, and we can head back. It took 4 or 5 days just to wait for a reply. Could it be any slower? Although Su Jie commented wryly, the news still brought joy. Any chance to escape the threat of alien ghosts was welcome. The command hall has always been like this. It's not the first day we've dealt with their slow responses, Gu Weonian remarked. Chan Yun, caressing the now mostly healed ugly wounds on her face, shared the sentiment common among the outer disciples, the lack of fondness for the command hall. At least the letter came. If they didn't let me return, I'm afraid my leg would have gone lame, said Gu Weonian, who was the most eager to leave. His right leg had been corroded by a fire-poison cockroach explosion last time and was still not healed, revealing the ghastly white bones with most of the muscles in his lower leg corroded away. Your injury can be mostly healed with a low-grade regeneration pill from the black market. Don't worry, Su Jie reassured him, then went inside the cabin to drag out 2 alien ghost corpses, stacking them on a flatbed cart and covering them with thick tarpaulin. This was the most precious spoils of war, and Su Jie had to escort them personally. Gu Weonian and Chun Yun shouldered their bags. One was limping with a severely injured leg, and the other was slow-moving from serious injuries. Along with Su Jie, who was pushing the cart, the trio set off under the sun, leaving Niujiao Ridge and heading back to Ghost Ridge Palace Mountain Gate. They had hoped the journey back would go smoothly, all of them eager to get back to the mountain gate quickly. Things often don't go as wished, however. As Su Jie and the others made their way along a mountain path, they suddenly heard some screams and cries for help. The screams echoed off the imposing mountains. Su Jie, Gu Weonian, and Chen Yun exchanged a glance, opting not to act rashly. You both stay here. I'll go check out the situation. Su Jie told Gu Weonian and Chen Yun to stay put due to their limited ability to move, and proceeded into the dense forest, sending the reconnaissance dragonfly ahead to scout. Soon, with the dragonfly's field of vision, Su Jie discovered the source of the screams. A small merchant convoy of about a dozen people lay scattered on the ground, their carts with heavy loads overturned, with human limbs and body parts strewn all around. A 3-meter-long alien ghost was chewing on a human thigh, its blood-red, ferocious eyes fixated on a few survivors desperately trying to flee. The situation was already very clear. It must have been this merchant caravan that encountered an alien ghost while on the move. Although Ghost Ridge Palace had arranged for disciples to be stationed around the trade routes, most alien ghosts would be intercepted by the disciples. But there were always some alien ghosts that would breach the defenses and wander into the trade route, attacking the caravans. This caravan was just such an unlucky one. At that moment, the alien ghost that had killed dozens of people was in hot pursuit, and the 3 fleeing individuals were a portly merchant and 2 martial master guards. Using the vision of the reconnaissance dragonfly, Su Jie noticed the portly merchant pulling out a deep blue talisman from his chest, wincing with pain as he threw it at the alien ghost. Boom! The talisman ignited in midair and transformed into an octagonal spirit pillar cage, trapping the alien ghost inside. A talisman capable of trapping an alien ghost must be at least of lower-grade intermediate level, costing dozens of blood marrow crystals. Seeing the alien ghost temporarily trapped, the portly merchant continued to flee with the help of the 2 martial master guards, stumbling towards Su Jie's direction. The distance was too short in a straight line, and soon they ran into each other. On seeing Su Jie and his companions, the merchant shouted loudly, "Thank goodness! The people from Ghost Ridge Palace over there. I have an alien ghost behind me. Please help me stop it." The merchant's shoes had fallen off during his run, and his chubby face was scratched and bloody from branches and bushes. Upon seeing Su Jie, he didn't think twice before asking for Su Jie's help to fend off the alien ghost. "What are you waiting for? We came all this way through countless hardships to support your business. Do you dare not to help us in peril? Believe it or not, I can report you to the command hall, and the consequences will be beyond what you can bear." The merchant pointed at Su Jie. His attitude was very aggressive. Being black market traders, they supported the resources for Ghost Ridge Palace, so even a demon cultivation sect like Ghost Ridge Palace wouldn't harm the merchants but instead would try to woo and protect them. While speaking, the merchant fumbled over his body, intending to pull out a pass token issued by the command hall. However, he found nothing. The token was lost amidst the chaos. "Fatso, you are really clamorous." Su Jie frowned and his piercing eyes filled with a cold light made the merchant shiver. Enraged and embarrassed, the merchant bellowed, "Do you know who I am? My uncle is Jia Geng, the manor master of Luyun Manor, and one of the 5 special authorized merchants of Ghost Ridge Palace. Do you believe I can make the elder flay your skin? Brother Su, this fat man indeed comes from a formidable background. A merchant from Luyun Manor, let's not provoke trouble." Gu Weonian seemed to recognize the man and cautioned Su Jie not to anger him. The so-called 5 special authorized merchants was a collaboration mechanism established by Ghost Ridge Palace with 5 major families. Ghost Ridge Palace would open up resources to them, and the 5 merchants must fulfill Ghost Ridge Palace's special resource demands. And what special resources meant, of course, was people. Demon cultivation couldn't do without it. It could be said these 5 authorized merchants were notoriously large slave masters, and practically all the human trafficking in the black market was monopolized by these 5 families. Because they could provide the scarce human resources that Ghost Ridge Palace needed, the 5 merchants held a high position within the sect. No wonder he was so arrogant. "Now that you know the consequences of offending me, be sensible and help me stop the alien ghost. There'll be plenty of blood marrow crystals as a reward afterward, or else I'll make sure you can't afford the consequences." Jia Xian looked triumphantly at Su Jie, about to continue his rant when he suddenly heard the roar of the alien ghost behind him. Following that, the terrifying hunched figure of the alien ghost appeared in their sight, having already broken free from the talisman's restraint. "This is bad, Brother Su. We need to get out of here." Gu Weonian involuntarily took a step back, his heart trembling. Not everyone had the courage to face an alien ghost head-on. Not to mention he was injured, and Chen Yun was seriously hurt as well. Even if their team was at full strength, facing such an alien ghost, their chances of winning were less than 30%. Chan Yun took a deep breath, a determined look in her eyes as if making a decision. She stepped in front of Su Jie and said, "Mr. Su, you go first, I'll hold off the alien ghost." This act alone made it clear that Chen Yun was prepared to die, willing to buy Su Jie time by holding off the alien ghost. Su Jie paid no attention to Jia Xian's shouting on the side, just assessing the gap between himself and the alien ghost. Then he patted Chen Yun's shoulder in front of him. "There's no need. I'll handle this alien ghost myself. You won't be able to hold it back." Su Jie locked eyes with the alien ghost, inwardly concerned about not being able to test the fight capabilities of the second spiritual refining of the thousand-handed centipede, now seeming like a perfect opportunity. Whirring, a swarm of fire blood bees flew out. Their tails lifted, streaks of fire rained down. The alien ghost, incredibly agile, dodged most of the fire streaks with several swift movements. The occasional streak that landed only scorched a layer of its pale skin, hardly impacting its mobility. Several silver-winged golden-line cicadas also returned unsuccessfully, unable to breach the alien ghost's defenses. Quite formidable. Su Jie took a step forward and suddenly dashed into the nearby forest. Alien Ghost was drawn by the offensive, and instantaneously, its attention shifted to Su Jie as it roared furiously in pursuit. Perhaps, in the Alien Ghost's perspective, others were merely prey to be toyed with, but Su Jie not only didn't flee but also dared to counterattack, so he had to be dealt with first. Su Jie's speed was no match for the Alien Ghost, and it wasn't long before he was caught up. As the heavy footsteps and panting sounds neared him, Su Jie also summoned his trump card. The thousand-handed centipede climbed out from his sleeve, its body rapidly expanding and enlarging, transforming in the blink of an eye into a monstrous creature 6 meters long, double the length of the Alien Ghost. Its terrifying, upright form forced the swiftly pouncing Alien Ghost to screech to a halt, carving 2 long trenches into the ground. Roar! The Alien Ghost let out a menacing roar, its sharp fangs still strung with flesh, overwhelmingly bloody. Hiss! The thousand-handed centipede responded with a screech, a strong fishy wind sweeping forth, making the Alien Ghost's facial skin tremble like the surface of water, instantly deciding the outcome in terms of momentum. "Kill it, Shao Qian." Su Jie rubbed the monstrous body of the thousand-handed centipede while issuing the attack command. The next moment, the thousand-handed centipede did not hesitate to carry out Su Jie's order. Its enormous body crushed a large swath of bushes, sweeping through like a black wind. With no fanfare, the Alien Ghost, unwilling to show weakness, lunged forward, using both claws and teeth. The ability to easily slice through steel with its sharp claws and teeth, coupled with its formidable physique, was the capital that the Alien Ghost relied on to dominate. Ordinary outer disciples couldn't kill an Alien Ghost with a single strike. They could only use poisonous insects to continuously inject poison and wear it down. This was also the reason why an outer disciple encountering an Alien Ghost alone almost certainly meant death. Unfortunately, today the Alien Ghost met an existence with a corporeal body even stronger than its own. In a melee battle of similar sizes, insects' perception, agility, and capturing abilities often surpass those of wild beasts, let alone the fact that the thousand-handed centipede was much larger than the Alien Ghost. Mere contact was like being hit by a speeding train, with the thousand-handed centipede blowing the Alien Ghost away. Then, the thousand-handed centipede held the Alien Ghost tightly between its mandibles, smashing its way through several towering trees along its path. Roar, roar! The Alien Ghost struggled furiously. Rocks and ancient trees touched by its claws, as soft as tofu, were easily torn apart. But when the target was switched to the thousand-handed centipede, it was a different story altogether. The seemingly sharp claws of the Alien Ghost struck the chitin shell of the thousand-handed centipede, merely etching deep grooves and scratches. Occasionally, some vulnerable joints where the chitin connected were injured, splattering green insect blood, but these injuries quickly healed. Even the wounded parts split directly, turning into smaller centipedes that fell and burrowed into the Alien Ghost's flesh. Hiss, hiss. The thousand-handed centipede, more excited in battle, was like having obtained a large toy, stretching numerous pale corpse hands to wrap the alien ghost around an ancient tree trunk, twisting both the ghost and the tree together until they snapped. In an instant, the two massive figures were buried by the fallen branches. Seconds later, only the thousand-handed centipede could be seen standing upright. The alien ghost on the ground had all its bones broken, and its colorful organs squeezed out of its belly, laying silent. Hiss! Hiss! Holding the corpse of the alien ghost aloft, the thousand-handed centipede continued to shake its head vigorously, seemingly not yet having its fill of fun. That's settled then. Watching this scene, even Su Jie was somewhat astonished. Although Su Jie knew the thousand-handed centipede enhanced a lot having evolved to low-grade second refinement, the current situation still far exceeded his expectations. Such a formidable alien ghost, capable of wiping out a three-person squad, was dealt with by the thousand-handed centipede in less than 2 minutes. Having had its fill of fun, the thousand-handed centipede placed the battered corpse of the alien ghost in front of Su Jie. So this is the power of a low-grade second refinement poisonous insect. Indeed, my path is the correct one. Su Jie looked at the alien ghost's corpse brought by the thousand-handed centipede, a smile appearing on his face, as this was a valuable addition of several hundred blood marrow crystals to his account. After hanging the corpse of the alien ghost on a tree, Su Jie didn't rush to return, especially since he was near the site where the merchant convoy had been attacked by the alien ghost. Adhering to the principle of taking advantage of any opportunity, Su Jie, ignoring the bloodshed, sifted through each corpse on the ground. Some of these bodies held pieces of blood marrow crystals, 1 or 2 per body, which Su Jie also didn't mind taking, gathering them all into his pockets. After a thorough search, Su Jie managed to collect 23 blood marrow crystals in total. Finally, Su Jie turned his gaze to several overturned carts, those the merchants had intended to transport to Ghost Ridge Palace's black market. A chill seeped out from the carts. Pulling back the canvas, Su Jie gasped at the shocking scene it revealed. The carts held cubical blocks of ice, each enclosing the frozen corpse of a child. The eldest corpse was no more than 5 or 6 years old, the youngest perhaps not even a year old. The deceased were clearly strangled to death, evidenced by the purple strangulation marks around their necks. He turned over a few more carts, and all were the same. Outrageous! Su Jie was disturbed by the thought that these children were mostly used to cultivate some special demon technique. This was the impression demon cultivators gave: brutal, bloodthirsty, indiscriminate killers. Even though Su Jie himself was a demon cultivator, it didn't mean he could understand or accept such acts. As Su Jie frowned in contemplation, Chun Yun ignored the admonitions and insisted on checking the site of the battle, worrying about Su Jie's safety. But just as she arrived, both Chun Yun and Gu Weonian were shocked by the sight of the alien ghost's corpse hanging from a tree. "Brother Su, did you kill this alien ghost?" Gu Weonian was initially scared, then realized the alien ghost was already dead. Then, Gu Weonian swallowed hard, looking incredulously at Su Jie. The alien ghost had become a corpse, which meant, had Su Jie fought and killed an alien ghost alone? At this thought, Gu Weion's heart pounded wildly. This was an alien ghost. He had never heard of any outer disciple who could confidently take on an alien ghost alone, let alone those who dared to face one. Chun Yun was equally shocked by Su Jie's formidable combat abilities. If he could single-handedly defeat an alien ghost, it meant that among the outer disciples probably no one could match him in strength. The alien ghost was not in good condition, and by a stroke of luck, I found an opportunity. Su Jie glanced at the two, not minding whether they believed him or not, and said, "When we return to the sect, say that the alien ghost was fought over by Meng Donga and others. Don't involve me." Gu Weonian and Chun Yun knew Su Jie was concealing his skills, and nodded, "Understood." As Su Jie was speaking with Gu Weonian and Chun Yun, suddenly a commanding voice erupted. "Hey, you three, get my goods packed right away. Don't let the ice melt, or you can't afford the losses." Jiarexian had returned with 2 martial masters as his guard, evidently still concerned about his goods, or perhaps thinking that Su Jie had lured the alien ghost away, and he could sneak back to take his goods. Su Jie looked over, only to see Jia Xian staring intently at the alien ghost's corpse hanging from the tree, his eyes filled with greed. Also, this alien ghost attacked our caravan earlier. We inflicted severe wounds that nearly killed it, which gave you the chance to finish it off. So it's my prey. Hand it over to me to deal with, which will compensate for part of my losses. An alien ghost was worth several hundred blood marrow crystals, and Jia Xian could not suppress the fiery greed in his heart, shamelessly wanting to claim the alien ghost's corpse. With this, he could not only break even but also make a small profit. If it was an inner disciple, Jia Xian wouldn't dare to meddle, but his confidence was high since they were just outer disciples. Hearing Jia Xian's ludicrous remark, Su Jie was amused to laughter, though his smile was rather cold. You still want my alien ghost? Su Jie's gaze was teasing, daring Jia Xian to make such a greedy request, as if he was incapable of drawing a sword anymore. What, your alien ghost? It's my property now. My uncle is the manor master of Luyun Manor, and people don't even get the chance to curry favor with me. So don't fail to appreciate what is good for you. Jia Xian said brazenly, his words carrying a threat. Relying on the support of Luyun Manor, he didn't take Su Jie seriously at all. Then I should thank you. Lifting his right hand slowly, Su Jie was in a very bad mood, and if he was upset, someone had to pay the price. A swarm of fire blood bees flew out and under Jia Xian's stunned gaze. A trail of fire targeted the carriages, turning the ice blocks and child corpses into ashes, eradicating these crimes. Brother Su, don't be rash. Gu Weonian's eyelids twitched, sensing that things might turn bad. While he wasn't particularly affected by the sight of the child corpses, having spent many years at Ghost Ridge Palace, he had seen plenty of brutal scenes. Gu Weonian was merely worried that Su Jie's actions would bring trouble. After all, Jia Xian's background was significant, and compared to an outer disciple, the high echelons of Ghost Ridge Palace would definitely value Luyun Manor more, which consistently contributed a steady stream of people. Rash? No, don't you think, Brother Gu, that these goods are too eye-catching, and burning them away for peace of mind is much better. Su Jie's gaze was sharp as a knife, making Gu Weonian feel inexplicably chilled, and he dared not say another word. At that moment, Jia Xian finally reacted, watching his cargo being consumed by the flames. The child corpses he had collected with great effort turned into charred remains in the fire, and this scene made his heart bleed and his rage uncontrollable. You're insane. Have you lost your mind, daring to burn my goods? Do you know how much they were worth? It's more money than you, an outer disciple, could ever earn in your lifetime. I will go to the command hall and sue you to ensure you spend your life compensating for my losses. Seeing his precious goods being destroyed, Jia Xian wished he could devour Su Jie alive. I'm afraid you won't have that chance anymore. Su Jie's gaze was cold, as if he was looking at a dead man. What did you say? Before Jia Xian could grasp the meaning of Su Jie's words, he suddenly saw a streak of gold and silver slash through the air. Snap! The heads of two guards standing next to Jia Xian rolled off their necks, blood spraying all over Jia Xian. These guards, being martial masters, knew some basic techniques, could shatter bluestone slabs with their fists, and could leap onto roofs several meters high, making them experts to common folks. But in front of a demon cultivator like Su Jie, they were merely slightly stronger mortals. How dare you? How dare you do this? Aren't you afraid I'll go to the command hall? My uncle is the manor master of Luyun Manor. The sudden murder, which left the previously furious Jia Xian as if doused with cold water, made his whole body tremble, and he involuntarily stepped back. If you had a pass token, I would have given you some face. But now, what do you think this is? Su Jie sneered, tossing a black token with his left hand. This was a pass specifically issued by the command hall for black market merchants. It was because Ghost Ridge Palace knew the nature of its sect disciples. Without some measures, these merchants would probably be robbed clean before they even reached the black market. Once this token was activated, as long as it was near the mountains of Ghost Ridge Palace, it could send the surrounding imagery back to the command hall through divine sense. If the disciples attacked and plundered the merchant caravans, in order to maintain credibility, the command hall, upon catching the offending disciples, would severely punish them. Now that the token had fallen to the ground and was picked up by Su Jie, Jia Xian's biggest threat was gone. I know Elder Situ from your Ghost Ridge Palace. My uncle is the manor master of Liyun Manor. If you dare to touch me. Fear surfaced on Jia Xian's face. The demon cultivator in front of him was utterly lawless, and he had no means to check him. I dared to kill an alien ghost. Do you think I wouldn't dare to kill a merchant? Dead men don't talk. Su Jie pointed at the corpse of the alien ghost beside him, his eyes full of unrestraint. Jia Xian turned a livid shade of blue and fiercely addressed the other two. Did you hear what he said, you two? Are you really going to conspire with him? Capture him now, and I'll report this to the command hall later. Wealth and blood marrow crystals will be at your fingertips. Desperate, Jia Xian tried to get Gu Weonian and Chen Yun to side with him. Brother Su, if the command hall finds out about this, Gu Weonian hesitated. The older one gets, the more timid one becomes, and if this matter were discovered, it would pose a great trouble. Exactly. That's why we must stick together. Su Jie picked up a long knife from the ground and without saying another word, plunged it into Jia Xian's ribs. As Jia Xian screamed in agony, Su Jie, smiling cheerily, handed the long knife to Gu Weonian and said, Brother Gu, it's your turn. Gu Weonian shuddered, understanding the clear intent behind Su Jie's cheerful demeanor. By committing this deed together, none would dare betray the others. Chen Yun remained silent, standing behind Gu Weonian as a Mingshang bat peeked out of his robe, its gaze menacingly fixed on Gu Weonian. Gu Weonian then realized he was in a no-win situation. Su Jie, capable of killing an alien ghost, was not someone he could contend with. Now the only route was to follow Su Jie through thick and thin. Otherwise, he had no doubt that Su Jie would ensure that he, a witness, wouldn't see tomorrow's sun. Blame yourself for being blind. With a grimace, Gu Weonian took a few deep breaths, took the long knife, and stabbed it into Jia Xian's belly, brutally stirring it around. Without needing Su Jie's instruction, Chen Yun took the knife and swiftly chopped off all of Jia Xian's limbs, turning him into a human stick. Ah, the thing about people. Always aiming too high. Not everyone fears your background. Su Jie squatted in front of Jia Xian, patted his chubby face, then decisively chopped off his head, forever ending his life. Having searched the corpse, Jia Xian turned out to be quite wealthy. Su Jie found over 200 blood marrow crystals, truly a fat sheep, easy to slaughter, which explained why Ghost Ridge Palace had set rules. Otherwise, these merchants wouldn't suffice to satiate the disciples' slaughter. After cleaning up the traces, the three continued their journey along the rugged mountainous path. The journey back proceeded without further incidents, and by afternoon, they saw the mountain gate of Ghost Ridge Palace. The atmosphere at the sect was even more austere than when Su Jie had left, and there were noticeably fewer people. Clearly, the recent alien ghost menace had put a great strain on the disciples, with many being reassigned for guard duty. Ghost Ridge Palace, Command Hall. Su Jie and his two companions entered the mountain gate and went directly to the command hall for task handover. This was a high tower 100 meters tall, topped with swirling black smoke, like a dark behemoth swallowing clouds and spewing mist. At the entrance of the tower hung a plaque carved from blood, bearing the words Command Hall in bold. The bright blood on the plaque seemed to flow continuously. You two watch the goods here. I'll go in to hand over the task. Su Jie instructed Gu Weonian and Chen Yun, then walked into the command hall. Stepping inside, he entered a deep, dimly lit hall, where the temperature had dropped several degrees. There were very few disciples inside the hall, apart from those at the counter handling task handovers and assignments. Ordinary disciples wouldn't come here to wander without reason. Su Jie approached a counter. What do you want? Behind the counter, a man in a black uniform, about 30 years old, looked over. This was Manager Wu of the command hall. Su Jie had been here before, and knew his cultivation was only at the 3rd level of Yunling realm, but one shouldn't underestimate him. The command hall specifically managed task allocations for the inner and outer disciples of Ghost Ridge Palace. Those who could become a manager here might not be powerful in strength, but they must be confidants of the sect master. For instance, Manager Wu here had a distant blood relation with the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace. Outer disciple Su Jie, here to submit a rest task. Su Jie handed over his task token, along with the envelope allowing him to return for rest. Manager Wu took them and looked through the files briefly, then said indifferently, "How come you lost so many people?" "We were attacked by alien ghosts. Out of 12, only the 3 of us survived. We were lucky," Su Jie reported truthfully. All traces of evidence had been erased, and since they were just outer disciples, the command hall wouldn't go to great lengths to investigate. Sure enough, Manager Wu had no further questions. After a brief inspection, he had Su Jie and his friends press their handprints to confirm the task handover. "By the way, did you kill any alien ghosts?" Manager Wu seemed to recall something and asked another question. "Yes, we brought back the bodies of the alien ghosts." Su Jie nodded, since he couldn't hide that fact anyway. The bodies were indeed to be sold off. "Do you have a buyer lined up? I know a few reliable merchants who offer fair prices." Manager Wu suddenly became enthusiastic, his attitude changing by 360 degrees. "We appreciate your help, Manager Wu. We were just on our way to auction in the black market. If it's convenient for you, could you lead the way and help us with the certification?" Su Jie seized the opportunity to say, knowing that these managers stationed in the command hall, being well-informed and well-acquainted, liked getting involved in business deals. Ordinary outer disciples would also engage a manager to act as a notary during large transactions to ensure that the dealings went smoothly. While talking, Su Jie also took out some blood marrow crystals from his pocket and handed them over. "Manager Wu, have these for tea." Manager Wu quickly pocketed the blood marrow crystals, smiling broadly. "Well said, well said. The price of alien ghosts in the black market has gone up recently. No less than 650 blood marrow crystals per head. Make sure you don't sell them cheap. I know many merchants in the black market, and I absolutely won't let you suffer a loss." Manager Wu promised earnestly, then stood up and left his post. The other managers acted as if they saw nothing. After all, they were all insiders, and a little slacking off was nothing. The two walked out of the command hall together and soon reconvened with Chen Yun and Gu Weonian, who had been watching the goods outside. "This is Manager Wu of the command hall, and these are the friends I mentioned before, Mr. Gu Weonian and Ms. Chen Yun." Su Jie made introductions for both sides. "My real name is Wu Bin. No need to be so formal. Mr. Su, let's first check the quality of the bodies, as the prices of alien ghost bodies differ slightly depending on their size." Wu Bin's gaze shifted toward the flatbed cart that Gu Weonian and Chen Yun were guarding, asking, "Are they kept up there?" Su Jie gave a signal. Chen Yun stepped forward, grabbing the cover tarp and lifting a corner to reveal the true form of the alien ghosts underneath. "You caught a good time. Previously, an alien ghost was only worth about 300 blood marrow crystals. They have surged in price recently. You were lucky to catch one at all, so you should capitalize on." Wu Bin was still enticingly murmuring, but his words suddenly faltered, his eyes widening in astonishment as he stared at the 3 alien ghost bodies stacked on the flatbed cart. It wasn't just one body as he had expected, but 3 alien ghost bodies piled together, which left Wu Bin completely stunned. 3 bodies? Did you kill 3 alien ghosts? His voice filled with disbelief. Wu Bin had seen more valuable goods handled before, but just a few outer disciples coming up with 3 alien ghosts that he had never seen. "It was just luck. We simply seized a good opportunity." Su Jie narrated his past encounter very honestly, with only a slight revision that altered Meng Dongga's death to being killed by an alien ghost, which made the story more plausible. Upon hearing that it was Meng Dongga who led the team to achieve most of the accomplishments, Wu Bin reluctantly accepted this reality. Meng Dongga, I've heard of him, at the 5th level of Yunling Realm, a formidable figure among the outer disciples, even with the potential to be promoted to inner sect disciple. Such a pity. Wu Bin sighed, then couldn't help but gaze at Su Jie from the corner of his eye. Seeing that you, Mr. Su, are so young and yet achieved such great results. I had no idea but was quite startled upon finding out. Truly a case of a hero being a youth. No matter whether Su Jie had just picked up an easy opportunity. Managing to acquire 3 alien ghosts definitely showed his exceptional abilities, and he might rise to prominence in the future. Wu Bin instantly thought about fostering a good relationship with him. Manager Wu, you flatter me. This is nothing really. Su Jie waved his hands continuously, but Wu Bin grabbed him by the arm. Don't call me Manager Wu. I'm just a few years older than you. Just call me Brother Wu. Brother Wu. Ah, young brother. The two thus nauseatingly addressed each other, showing no signs of the awkwardness typical of new acquaintances. Oh, Central Street of the Black Market. Jushin Tower, where 2 men with extraordinary demeanors were sitting, having been engaged in a game of chess for a long time. One of the elders, dressed in a purple robe, with a black python coiled around his arm, had a gaunt face and piercingly deep eyes, emanating a cold aura that discouraged direct eye contact. Across from him sat a short, middle-aged man with an ordinary face and a string of black prayer beads around his neck, from which faint wails and cries could be heard, as if someone were being tortured inside them, sending shivers down the spine. Both individuals were hidden realm elders of the Ghost Ridge Palace, namely Taoist Chiu and Elder Yi. Next to them, a maid was serving them tea, who was none other than the inner disciple Yu Wenxian. It's a stalemate. Shall we continue? Pinching a white piece and placing it on the board, Taoist Chiu slowly spoke. Elder Yi tossed down his chess piece, his gaze cold and fierce as he turned to look out the window. I lost the game today, but when it comes to our wager, it's still unclear who between us will win or lose. As his voice faded, Elder Yi pulled off a black prayer bead from around his neck and threw it out the window. The bead flew on its own towards a particular location. Let's see whose disciple catches more alien ghosts. Taoist Chiu plucked a hair from his head, which transformed into a colorful little snake, flicking its tongue and quickly disappearing from sight. Soon, the disciples from both sides who received the message headed straight for Jushin Tower. Pei Haibing rode on a tall horse, followed closely by 2 disciples. Behind them, a high platform drawn by 4 horses carried 2 pale corpses of alien ghosts suspended from a pole. This eye-catching scene immediately caused an uproar in the black market as soon as it appeared. Merchants from half the street crowded around Pei Haibing, eagerly bidding for them. Mr. Pay 1,002, 1,200 blood marrow crystals. Our Bright Moon Hall is willing to buy these 2 alien ghosts. I represent Zhang's trading team offering 1,300 blood marrow crystals. And also a piece of blood god wood for Mr. Pei's cultivation, just for these 2 alien ghosts' bodies. Our Taishu Pavilion. Among these merchants, a plump young woman also joined the bidding, who was none other than Manager Kai from the Taishu Pavilion. Meanwhile, at the front, with arms crossed and a frosty expression, Pei Haibing seemed to think that the crowd was too noisy, saying coldly, all of you shut up. After the master has reviewed them, the auction for these alien ghosts will begin. Junior brother Pei, having caught 2 alien ghosts at once, it seems the white-boned sky-slaying sword is destined for you. Yu Wenxian stood waiting below Jushin Tower, now looking up at the 2 alien ghost bodies. She opened her mouth in a sweet smile. It took some effort, but fortunately, I didn't embarrass Master. Senior Yu, what did Master say? I don't know, Elder Yi seems pretty confident as well. Yu Wenxian was speaking when from the other end of the street came another commotion. A few disciples from the Ghost Ridge Palace were pushing a large vehicle, on which 2 alien ghosts' bodies were placed. The leader, a man in a blue robe with a handsome face, gracefully greeted the group. It was Feng Wenjin, an inner sect disciple from Elder Yi's lineage. They also have 2 alien ghosts. Yu Wenxian covered her mouth in shock. He's just lucky. If it weren't for the difficulty in finding alien ghosts that flee at the first sign of trouble, I could kill even 10 of them. Pei Haibing scoffed, attributing his results purely to bad luck. As alien ghosts were not something that the outer disciples feared, it was just bad luck that they didn't encounter many. Fortunately, he could somewhat accept this outcome since at least no one surpassed him. Otherwise Taoist Cho might be so furious he wouldn't even offer up the white-bone sky-slaying sword. It seems we have reached a draw today. At the same time, Taoist Cho walked over from Jushin Tower, stepping through the air as if on an invisible bridge. Where he passed, a group of merchants bowed and lowered their gaze, and the previously noisy scene suddenly became much quieter. An elder from the secret realm, in terms of both strength and influence, was not someone these common black market merchants could afford to offend. While some people dared to shout and holler in front of Pei Haibing, in the presence of Taoist Cho, not a single person raised their voice. Humph, Taoist Cho, why don't we compare the number of alien ghosts our disciples have killed? This would be a better reflection of our ability to teach. Yi Jingu, with a dragon's stride and a tiger's bearing, leaped down and, seeing such a result, his eyes turned particularly ferocious. He and Taoist Cho had a long-standing feud, and since Taoist Cho was always harsh on his disciples, Yi Jingu had been looking for a way to suppress him in this respect, seizing what opportunity he could. In terms of the number and quality of disciples, Yi Jingu believed he far exceeded Taoist Cho and could not possibly lose. Taoist Cho turned around, his narrow and long vertical pupils narrowed slightly. His gaze was like that of a venomous snake, chilly and slippery, sending shivers down the spine. Before he could speak, a commotion suddenly rose again in the crowd. One could faintly hear merchants shouting something about alien ghost corpses, 3 heads, hurry and grab and such. The merchants who were originally gathered around Jushin Tower turned around to look, and saw a plain flatbed cart being pushed forward, on which were neatly placed 3 alien ghost corpses. Seeing this scene, the merchants were in uproar all at once, taking wide strides eagerly toward it, vying to grab the best spot for the auction. Which family's inner disciple is this showing up right now? Pei Haibing felt his limelight was being stolen and grumbled discontentedly. Yu Wenxian, who stood beside him, also cast a curious glance, but unlike Pei Haibing's cursory glance, she looked more carefully and quickly noticed something was amiss. Wait a minute. Something's not right. Aren't they our disciples? Yu Wenxian spoke with surprise and uncertainty, recognizing the identities of disciples Su Jie, Gu Weonian, and Chen Yun from her own sect. What are you talking about? How could it be B? Pei Haibing almost couldn't help but burst out laughing. Which outer disciples could hunt down 3 alien ghosts? However, when he turned his head for a closer look, the 3 disciples around the flatbed cart were dressed in outer disciple uniforms, and he vaguely remembered they seemed to be indeed from his own sect. Taoist Cho also heard the commotion and looked over, the corners of his mouth curling into a mocking smile as he sinisterly said to Yi Jingu, "Elder Yi, our competition is not over yet." Yi Jingu's complexion darkened slightly, his voice hoarse. "Taoist Cho, don't tell me you played some trick, even meddling in the competition between the disciples. Have you no sense of honor? What a joke. I, Taoist Cho, need no deceit to beat you. Wenxian, go over there and call them here. Let Elder Yi lose heart." Taoist Cho snorted coldly, although he didn't know where Su Jie and the other outer disciples got these 3 alien ghosts from. He didn't care as long as it could put Yi Jingu down a notch. Yes. Yu Wenxian took the order and quickly headed towards the flatbed cart. "Everyone, don't rush. All of our alien ghosts are for sale to the highest bidder." Su Jie stood on the flatbed cart, stepping on the head of one of the alien ghosts, looking at the merchants who were attracted over with excitement. The more people, the fiercer the competition, the more he could earn. 1,500 blood marrow crystals. I'll buy these 3 alien ghost corpses. A merchant squeezed to the front, but his words had barely left his mouth when Wu Bin, visibly annoyed, interrupted him. "Scram to the side, thinking we don't know the value? If you don't have the money, go home and ask your mom for it. Don't make a fool of yourself here." As Wu Bin spoke, he even raised his foot to kick. As a manager of the command hall, he was not an outer disciple, and regular merchants needed to greet him with smiles and flattery. This young master, our Zhang's Chamber of Commerce bids 1,800 blood marrow crystals. Bua Mansion bids 1,500 blood marrow crystals, plus 1 low-grade magic tool, and 2 low-grade high-level talismans. Yudan Valley bids 1 bottle of refining pills, and an additional 500 blood marrow crystals on top. A group of merchants surrounded Su Jie, spouting numbers that made his heart surge with excitement. Gu Weonian, standing to the side, was equally exhilarated. His face flushed with emotion. Although he only had a small share of the profit, it was still a substantial fortune for an outer disciple. Only Chen Yun remained cold as ice. The shadows of losing her brother and husband had not yet dissipated. Mr.
Mr. Su, itesme.
Our Taishu Pavilion is willing to buy all 3 alien ghosts at a negotiable price. Just then, Su Jie heard a somewhat familiar voice. Looking down, he saw that the manager of the Taishu Pavilion, the charming young widow Kai Chun-yi, had somehow made her way over, breathlessly calling out to him. While speaking, Kai Chun-yi unconsciously thrust out her ample, round bosom, causing the buttons on her chest to nearly burst apart, and her pair of phoenix eyes were incredibly seductive. She truly oozed charm from every pore. The surrounding merchants watched, and many cursed inwardly, accusing her of using seduction tactics, disregarding martial integrity. Sister Kai, how come you're here too? Su Jie's eyes flickered slightly as he nodded with a smile, without agreeing to her proposition, though the woman in front of him was like a ripe peach begging to be bitten into. But when faced with sufficient value, Su Jie was not about to sell out his interests for a little allure. If not because Mr. Su you didn't visit me when you returned, I had to come over personally. Kai Chun-yi coquettishly rolled her eyes at Su Jie, then said, Consider our Taishu Pavilion seriously for the 3 alien ghost corpses. Our offer will definitely not be lower than others. In her words, Kai Chun-yi's voice carried a tone of humility. Indeed, when Kai Chun-yi first saw Su Jie earlier, she could scarcely believe her eyes. An outer disciple managing to hunt down 3 alien ghosts seemed as laughable as a sow climbing a tree. Yet, against all odds, it had happened, and it completely shocked her for the whole year. Let's talk about this later. Su Jie shook his head and noticed a young woman in light gauze approaching. It was the inner sect disciple Yu Wenxian, Su Jie's senior sister. Giggle, junior brother Su. It really is you. I knew I wouldn't recognize the wrong person. Yu Wenxian's laughter preceded her words, and perhaps due to her formidable reputation, the merchants immediately cleared space for her as she neared. Senior Yu, you're here for? Su Jie grew inwardly vigilant, wondering if she was eyeing the fortune he had stumbled upon. Master is ahead. He wants you to come over. Yu Wenxian extended her delicate fingers and poked at the alien ghost corpses on the cart, her tone cheerful. This time, junior brother Su, you might become quite famous with our master. Hurry over. After saying that, she led the way gracefully. Su Jie was still pondering Yu Wenxian's intentions when Wu Bin, standing nearby, seized the chance to whisper and ask, Are you a disciple of Taoist Chiu? He hadn't really looked closely at Su Jie's background before. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked this question. Yes, what about it? Don't you know? Taoist Chiu and Elder Yi Jinggu have had another flare-up in their feud. They privately bet on whose disciples could kill more alien ghosts, and even put up handsome rewards to motivate their disciples. The whole Ghost Ridge Palace has been abuzz with it. It's probably for this reason they're calling you over. Wu Bin, being the manager of Command Hall, was well informed and knew all the gossip among the elders. Oh, no wonder our master was willing to put up such a big bounty, offering the White-Bone Sky-slaying sword as a reward. Gu Weonian suddenly realized and understood some things from before. The deadline set by master was a week, right? We've already exceeded the time. Could the reward still count? Su Jie licked his lips. He hadn't really considered this before. First, the time had already exceeded the agreed week, and besides, that White-Bone Sky-slaying sword seemed intended for Pei Haibing, who practiced the White-Bone transformation skill. It seemed out of reach for them outer disciples. That's because Elder Yi had some accidents with his alchemy, causing some delays. Wu Bin explained the reasons as Su Jie's heart began to heat up. he might actually get a chance at that white-bone sky-slaying sword. Opportunity was never handed to you freely. You had to fight for it in the righteous sects, even more so in the demon path. Su Jie and his companions arrived at the entrance of Jushin Tower, where they indeed saw Taoist Chiu, along with a short-statured middle-aged man whose eyes bore a sinister look. This man must be Yi Jingu, Elder Yi as mentioned by Wu Bin. Disciple Su Jie pays respects to the master. Su Jie swiftly stepped forward, gave a bow to Taoist Chiu, and Gu Weonian and Qin Yun did the same. The three, one seriously injured and one severely wounded, only Su Jie was unharmed. It was clear to any discerning eye who was in charge. Taoist Chiu's gaze moved past the three and settled on the flatbed cart stacked with 3 alien ghost corpses, and he said, "These 3 alien ghosts. Where did you obtain them from? Explain in detail and do not conceal anything." Master, once again, Su Jie avidly praised Meng Dongge and his heroic selflessness, making him out to be capable of fighting 10 at once. It was just good luck that they themselves ended up with the spoils. Enough of this. We of the demon sect do not dwell on the means but care only about results. The alien ghost corpses are now with you, so the spoils are yours. After listening, Taoist Chiu showed no intention of blaming Su Jie and the others, regardless if Su Jie and his companions had gained by fishing in troubled waters, or if there was any other scheme. What he valued was the end result. Elder Yi, do you have anything to say? After speaking, Taoist Chiu turned his gaze towards Yi Jingu again, his eyes dark and deep as a placid lake. Humph. Nothing to say. My disciple simply lacked the drive. This round I lost. Yi Jingu's expression was exceedingly grim. As Taoist Chiu said, they, as demon cultivators, focus on results, no matter how filthy or shameful the process might be. Yi Jingu wasn't a sore loser. After straightforwardly conceding the bet, he took off the prayer beads around his neck and tossed them to Taoist Chiu. Many merchants around them were secretly shocked, not expecting their wager to be so large. Those prayer beads were indeed a top-tier mid-grade magical artifact, known as the Taisu Shining Soul Pearl, which had strong powers of soul refining and evil extinguishing. A normal cultivator hit by it would have their soul immediately sucked into it, enduring the torment of being burned by nether fire until their soul was exhausted, more terrifying than death itself. Taisu Shining Soul Pearl. Heh. Poor taste. Take it home to use as a dog collar. Taoist Chiu ungraciously received the Taisu Shining Soul Pearl and unhesitatingly mocked him. Next time you might not be so lucky. Yi Jingu grew even angrier, his gaze sharp as he looked at his own disciples, causing them all to sweat profusely. Conversely, Taoist Chiu now found everything about Su Jie agreeable. After acquiring the Taisu Shining Soul Pearl, Taoist Chiu even took out a luminous, spiritually charming, and dazzling flying sword from his storage bag. It was the white-bone sky-slaying sword, and he said somberly, "Su Jie, a good name. As the saying goes, 5 people say you are strong, 10 choose you, 100 consider you distinguished, 1,000 call you a hero, double a hero is called virtuous, and 10,000 a marvel. I hope that you will live up to this name and become a marvel among the demon path." Having said that, he handed the white-bone sky-slaying sword to Su Jie. The move shocked and envious many disciples and merchants, their eyes filled with insatiable greed. This was a low-grade flying sword, and among those, a top-tier one, ranking even higher than a low-grade advanced magical artifact. In the black market, the starting price would be no less than 1,000 blood marrow crystals, truly priceless. A rarity that most dare not even dream of. Su Jie took a deep breath, realizing that if he accepted the white-bone sky-slaying sword now, he would instantly become a target in many people's eyes, and would also utterly offend Pei Haibing, an inner disciple. But what of it? In the past, Su Jie had always been cautious, but when it came time to compete, he was ready to fight. He never believed in what is meant to be will be, and what isn't should not be forced. Even without this low-grade flying sword, the wealth Su Jie would gain from selling the 3 alien ghosts would also make him a target for those seeking quick riches, a situation simply unstoppable. So Su Jie took a deep breath, his face serious as he reached out with both hands to receive the white-bone sky-slaying sword, and said, "Thank you, Master, for bestowing this treasure. I shall diligently cultivate and not tarnish Master's reputation." Pei Haibing stared at Su Jie, a fierce cold light shooting from his pupils. Just as the white-bone sky-slaying sword was about to be taken, he finally couldn't hold back and said, "Master, he is just an outer disciple, and it is only by luck. He is totally unworthy of this white-bone sky-slaying sword." This white-bone sky-slaying sword had always been considered personal property by Pei Haibing. Seeing Su Jie taking it away, he couldn't just accept it. Elder Yi scoffed coldly, a smile mixed with disdain and contempt. "It seems, Taoist Chiu, you are lax in managing your subordinates. Any disciple dares to contradict you." Taoist Chiu's eyes narrowed slightly. Pei Haibing's behavior had undoubtedly been a slap in Taoist Chiu's face, especially in front of Elder Yi. Scanning with displeasure, Taoist Chiu, with the black serpent in his hand standing up, said coldly, "My decisions are not for you to question." Pei Haibing's body stiffened, realizing he had misspoken, but it was too late to explain. Suddenly, Pei Haibing grunted, his facial veins bulging violently as small snake-sized worms writhed under his skin and finally broke through like iron threadworms. The severe pain caused Pei Haibing's neck veins to bulge, and he writhed in agony. Yet he dared not scream out, for fear of losing face for Taoist Chiu. Su Jie was secretly alarmed and noticed the black serpent in Taoist Chiu's hands. It was this black serpent that had hissed at Pei Haibing, resulting in his current predicament. He didn't even know how Pei Haibing was afflicted. It truly was exceedingly bizarre. The people around immediately backed away from Pei Haibing, fearing they might be affected. "Master," junior brother Pei spoke without thinking, "please don't be angry." Yu Wenxian stepped forward to mediate, but she didn't make any move to help him up, and the slight smile on her lips seemed more like schadenfreude. "Take him down and have him reflect in confinement for a few days." Taoist Chiu looked coldly at Pei Haibing lying on the ground. The snake-like poisonous insect in his hand also stopped hissing, coiling back around his arm. Even inner sect disciples cannot lightly defy the dignity of the secret realm elders, even if they are master and disciple. Pei Haibing should feel lucky he is an inner disciple. Had he been a mere outer disciple, his body would likely be cold by now. Two of Pei Haibing's teammates carefully came forward, helped him up, and fled as if flying. After withdrawing his gaze from Pei Haibing, Taoist Chiu looked again at Su Jie. "Remember to focus on your cultivation." This time, Su Jie successfully received the white-bone sky-slaying sword, and after encouraging him with a phrase, Taoist Chiu, whose mood had been ruined by Pei Haibing, also turned and left. Now that his purpose for today had been achieved, and considering he wasn't genuinely fond of Su Jie, naturally, he wouldn't waste more time. Elder Yi gave Su Jie a couple of looks, deep in thought, then departed the place with a few disciples accompanying him. "Congratulations, junior brother Su. The white-bone sky-slaying sword is indeed the best among low-grade flying swords. You've made a big gain this time." Yu Wenxian approached with a bright smile. "Senior Yu, this is like a hot potato. I don't know how many people want to get their hands on it." As he caressed the cold blade of the white-bone sky-slaying sword, Su Jie spoke meaningfully. "You got a bargain and still complain. If you're afraid, let your sister keep it safe for you. No need to trouble Senior Yu. If I die because of this, it will just mean that my skills were inferior." As he slung the white-bone sky-slaying sword over his back, Su Jie flatly refused, knowing that once it entered his possession, it wouldn't be going anywhere else. "Virtue." Yu Wenxian frowned and cutely wrinkled her nose, giving Su Jie a sideways glance that sounded almost coquettish. If Su Jie hadn't known Yu Wenxian's true nature, he might genuinely have been deceived. Su Jie exchanged a few more pleasantries with Yu Wenxian. Seeing the merchants gathering again, his smile returned. The white-bone sky-slaying sword was an unexpected gain, but the real value of the alien ghost had not yet been sold. "Mr. Su, our Zhang's trading team will add another 120 blood marrow crystals, as well as a low-grade basic magic artifact. Consider it carefully. Our manager said that, if Mr. Su is willing to make a deal with us, We can arrange for good farmland and beautiful concubines whenever you like. This is a top-tier seat token from the Chui Lan Pavilion. Simply by collecting the rent yearly, you can earn over 100 blood marrow crystals. Mr. Su, if you... As Su Jie announced the auction, the merchants started raising their hands and calling out their bids, and the scene heated up once again. Don't crowd. Speak one by one. You're making so much noise that we can't hear anything clearly. Wu Bin was maintaining order at the scene, while Gu Weionian and Chen Yun also stepped forward to help. Su Jie was constantly comparing the bid prices from each merchant. This was the greatest wealth he could earn at his current stage, and he certainly aimed to maximize his profits. After about 15 minutes, the highest bid was called out at 2,000 blood marrow crystals. Above this price, the merchants were no longer willing to bid higher, worried that any further increase wouldn't be easily recovered through resale. There were some merchants who offered items other than blood marrow crystals, ranging from magic artifacts and elixirs to promises of mansions and beautiful concubines. They threw out all sorts of temptations. The former was fine, but the latter left Su Jie speechless. Did he look like he lacked that kind of thing? When the bidding reached the psychological price limit of the merchants, the scene gradually quieted down. Just then, a melodious voice rang out. Mr. Su, our Taishu Pavilion has bid 1,500 blood marrow crystals, plus this scroll of scriptures. Kai Chunyi gracefully stepped forward, her beautiful and charming face smiling, holding out a jade scroll with both hands. The words Green Rainbow were inscribed on the jade scroll in clerical script. The entire scroll was pristine white and translucent, with countless small, tadpole-like characters flowing within the jade. Only very precious spells, scriptures, and secret texts are recorded on jade scrolls, as the value of the jade scroll alone amounts to 50 blood marrow crystals. What is this? Su Jie was a bit curious. Seeing Kai Chunyi's confident demeanor, what was recorded on the jade scroll was certainly not trivial. Kai Chunyi pointed to the white-boned sky-slaying sword on Su Jie's back and said, Mr. Su holds such a divine weapon, but without the corresponding sword technique, it might be difficult to fully utilize its power. The Green Rainbow sword technique recorded on this jade scroll is a sword control skill that encompasses the essence of sword manipulation, body sword, and refining sword. It will enable you to learn advanced sword control techniques at the fastest speed. Upon hearing this, the nearby merchants turned their heads in surprise. Su Jie's eyes lit up slightly. Since ancient times, scriptures related to cultivation were the true clan treasures and fundamental practices. Spirit pills and magic artifacts may run out one day, and pocket worlds might wane and no longer flourish due to the ever-changing world, but scriptures can be passed down forever. Although the previous merchants seemed aggressive in bidding, none of them brought out cultivation scriptures. Did they not have any? Of course not. Behind these merchants stood major families, almost all of whom had cultivation scriptures. They were just unwilling to trade them, that's all. It seems you are truly sincere. I'll verify it first. Su Jie stretched out his hand to take the jade scroll, intending to check it. Please feel free, Mr. Su. Kai Chunyi spoke with composure, clearly well-prepared and targeting Su Jie's newly acquired white-bone sky-slaying sword with her strategy, which could be considered hitting the nail on the head, quickly piquing Su Jie's interest. The jade scroll was cool to the touch as Su Jie examined it, pressing it against his forehead's sea of consciousness. The next moment, a flood of sword-shaped scriptures poured into Su Jie's mind. Within the sea of consciousness, swords and rainbow lights flickered at times like thunder and lightning, swift and fierce, and at other times like the wind blowing through catkins, elusive and hard to trace. After checking, Su Jie verified that the jade scroll indeed contained a flying sword manipulation skill, as Kai Chunyi had said. Perhaps in the outside world, such sword control skills might not be considered much, and a few hundred blood marrow crystals could possibly buy them. But Kai Chunyi's gesture was clearly more sincere than the other merchants, and this green rainbow sword technique was precisely what Su Jie needed. How about it, Mr. Su? Are you satisfied with this sword technique? Kai Chunyi asked. Seeing Su Jie's smile, she felt that he was satisfied. 1,500 blood marrow crystals, plus this green rainbow sword technique, and the 3 alien ghost bodies are yours. Su Jie nodded. Since Kai Chun-yi was so sincere, he didn't continue to haggle. Thank you, Mr. Su, for your generosity. Kai Chun-yi jumped excitedly on the spot, her ample bosom trembling fiercely, quite intimidating. As for this trade, Gu Weonian and Chen Yun both refrained from commenting, knowing their place, leaving all decisions up to Su Jie. Su Jie did not shortchange them either, promising to share a larger portion of the blood marrow crystals, since he took the green rainbow sword technique for himself. Kai Chun-yi did not carry so many blood marrow crystals on her, so the group returned to Taishu Pavilion's location in the black market. Soon, under Wu Bin's witness, Su Jie and Kai Chun-yi successfully completed the transaction. Both parties were very satisfied with the outcome of the trade. Kai Chun-yi presented a small gift, a few low-grade basic talismans, and said with a smile, Mr. Su, do visit Taishu Pavilion more often in the future, and remember to come to me if you have such good deals. You make it sound like you're running a matchmaking service, but speaking of which, Sister Kai, does that thing you told me last time still count? Su Jie spoke teasingly, recalling the promise this charming woman had made him before. Kai Chun-yi's pretty face flushed with intoxicating redness, and she spat lightly. I was just jesting with you, brother. Why did you take it seriously? I'm a straightforward person. I can't tell if it's a joke or for real, so. Su Jie reached out, feeling her waist that was slender as a snake, then slid his hand further down, before he could marvel at the suddenly dramatic curve. He squeezed a handful of that peachy roundness. Yeah! Kai Chun-yi cried out in alarm, her body going soft, as she glared over with sultry eyes. How could you, young master? That's indecent, utterly indecent. Haha, I am a demon cultivator after all. Isn't it only natural for me to be indecent? Su Jie winked at Kai Chun-yi. Then, ignoring the scorned woman behind him, he left Taishu Pavilion. Brother Wu, I really troubled you today. Su Jie handed over another 20-some blood marrow crystals to Wu Bin as a reward for today's help. Heh, as your junior, I only got to see such an exciting duel because of you. I'd welcome such troubles any time. Wu Bin had intended to gather for a meal together, but seeing Gu Weonian and Chen Yun with their injured legs, he knew it wasn't a good time. So he simply clasped his hands, exchanged contact details, and left. Su Jie personally accompanied Gu Weonian and Chen Yun to Ningdan Hall to have a doctor look at their injuries and purchased healing pills for them to use. When they finally parted ways, Su Jie gave them their share of the blood marrow crystals and cautioned them, be extra careful these days, heal well, but also stay alert for the wild wolves outside, so you don't end up stripped clean. I will take good care of myself. Chen Yun nodded, understanding that in her current state, holding on to such a large sum of blood marrow crystals was like a child walking through a bustling market with gold. A moment's inattention could mean it'd be snatched away. I've already prepared a way out. Brother Su need not worry. Gu Weonian said so, an old hand at such matters, having spent so many years in Ghost Ridge Palace. He certainly had his ways to hide. Seeing this, Su Jie didn't say much because compared to the two of them, he was the one in the greatest danger. What others coveted wasn't just the blood marrow crystals, but that white bone sky-slaying sword as well.